That they lost them both in overtime, then won 2 in a row, so they're actually playing very hard right now. Hey, the Philadelphia Eagles playing quite hard and quite successfully with Michael Vick as their quarterback. Coming up next, it's the Eagles, first place in the NFC East, visiting the top team in the NFC North, the Chicago Bears. It's America's Game of the Week coming up next here on Fox. Howie Long, Michael Vick has yet to throw an interception at all this season, but he's not the only reason this offense has looked so good for Philly.
Last time he threw an interception was Christmas Eve 2006.
Yeah.
Now, those numbers are skewed a little bit for obvious reasons. He was away for a while, but this Philadelphia team jumps on teams early. 86 first quarter points, by far the league lead, plus 56 in the first quarter. Chicago's defense has been great. If they can survive the early onslaught, as Michael mentioned earlier, force them to drive the length of the field. Make Michael Vick turn it into 10-play drives rather than the big hitter down the field.
Chicago playing more zone defense now, and so they don't get quite the pass rush. But Michael Vick, he can still throw it.
Well, we will find out whether or not Vick is successful against this tough Chicago defense. It comes your way in just a bit. When we come back, though, we'll check in on Brett Favre and the Vikings against Donovan McNabb and the Redskins. Stay around.
Welcome to America's Game of the Week on Fox as Michael Vick leads the Philadelphia Eagles onto the field here at Soldier Field in Chicago. Two first-place teams get together. It's the Eagles and the Bears on Fox. Good afternoon, everybody. Kenny Albert along with Moose and Goose, Daryl Johnston, and Tony Siragusa. The Chicago Bears are all alone in first place in the NFC North following Green Bay's loss to Atlanta earlier today. Daryl, the Bears 7-3. They've won their last 3 games. How have they done it?
Well, all the preseason excitement was about the hire of offensive coordinator Mike Martz to come in and help quarterback Jay Cutler fulfill his potential. But in typical Bears fashion, it's been the defense that has keyed this 7-3 start. And they're going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder this afternoon because they have not gotten a lot of respect. They have a chance to show everybody just how good they are today against what many consider to be the most explosive offense in the NFL.
A high-flying offense led by MVP candidate Michael Vick. The Eagles, like the Bears, have won their last 3 games, and they've averaged 37 points a game in doing so.
But this afternoon, patience is going to be the key. This Bears defense is built around not giving up the big play, and that is a staple to the Philadelphia offense. Michael Vick is going to have to make good decisions, check the ball down, take what this defense is giving him, and then when the opportunity is there for the big play, take advantage of it. Now that is Bears defense versus Eagles offense. Goose, what are you going to be watching this afternoon?
You know what, Dow, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of exciting players on both of these teams, offensively and defensively. But special teams, don't forget about them. We have 2 of the best returners in the National Football League. You got Devin Hester with the Chicago Bears. You got Deshaun Jackson with the Philadelphia Eagles. Both of these guys, anytime they get the ball in their hands, they can score. And that is going to be the deciding factor in today's game.
All right, thanks very much, Goose. We check out early scores. Falcons with a late field goal. Matt Ryan, 24 of 28 in Atlanta's victory over Green Bay. Cleveland leads Carolina late by 1. Steelers and Bills headed to overtime. Wesley Frazier with a victory in his first game as Vikings head coach. Houston sending Tennessee to their 4th consecutive defeat. And the Giants over the Jaguars, 24-20. The Eagles have won the toss. Robbie Gould gets things started. Jordan Calvin filling in for the injured Ellis Hobbs for the Eagles, and Calvin takes it out to the 27-yard line as Michael Vick leads the Eagles offense onto the field.
And he has been outstanding this season, really matured as a quarterback. We all know about his athletic ability and what he brings to that position, but I have been more impressed with how he's played it as a traditional quarterback throughout the year.
You saw the numbers, 11 touchdowns, no interceptions. Eagles start from their own 27-yard line as Vick hands off to LaShawn McCoy, and he is tackled behind the line of scrimmage by Israel Adonijay.
And here's where it gets scary when you talk about the Bears defense, is those 4 skill players right there. They have the potential to score at any time, and to make matters worse, this offensive line played what I felt was their best game of the season last week against a very good New York Giant defense.
Eldred Buckley replaces McCoy in the backfield. Macklin and Jackson split out to the left. And the handoff is to Buckley. And again, it's Adonijay on the tackle, along with Anthony Adams, gain of 3, so the Eagles now facing a 3rd down and 8.
And the key to this style of defense is that front 4. Julius Peppers, a huge addition in the offseason, but what sets it apart is this group of linebackers right here. Brian Urlacher is just having a bang-up year. This secondary, very good. We talked about how they don't give up the big play. Chris Harris, Danielle Manning, they're going to play those safeties back deep to try and take away the big play of the Philadelphia offense.
And that Bears defensive line, they shed tackles unbelievably up front.
Empty backfield, Goose. 3 wide receivers plus McCoy. Vick on 3rd and 8. Down he goes. Back at the 19-yard line. And for the 3rd straight play, it is Adonijay who comes up with the sack on 3rd down, his 7th of the season.
All right, take a look at it pre-snap. You're going to think there's a blitz coming. There's the linebackers up, but it's just the down 4. When this defense can get to the quarterback just bringing 4 guys, it could be a long afternoon. Philadelphia has got to get that corrected on the sideline.
Yeah, Philadelphia's offensive line has got to be prepared for a lot of stunts up with that defensive line. They're going to do a lot of movement. They're going to be dragging guys down. They're going to be helping each other, and that's the pressure that they're going to try and get.
Savraka punting from his own 10-yard line to the always dangerous Devin Hester. Hester lets it bounce. So good job by Rocca keeping the ball out of the hands of Hester. But it does lead to terrific field position for Jay Cutler and the Bears offense.
And really one of the big challenges this afternoon is not only for Mike Martz, the offensive coordinator, but for Jay Cutler too, playing against this Bears defense with 2 new backups playing cornerback. Dimitri Patterson gets the start for Ellis Hobbs, and Joselio Hansen will get the start for Asante Samuel. But they have to stay true to what they've done the last 3 weeks, and that's mix the pass and run and make good decisions.
Bears start from their own 34-yard line. Cutler off the play fake. With time, he fires high, intended for Hester.
And again, what has really happened during this Bears 3-game win streak is getting a balance between the run and the pass. And they've got to get Matt Forte started. Johnny Knox, Devin Hester will see limited action as a wide receiver. They want to try and preserve his abilities in the special teams that Tony talked about. And here's another key reason. They finally found their starting 5. Coming out of that bye week, they got those starting 5 together. They feel confident moving through the rest of the season. They have played well through this 3-game win streak.
On 2nd and 10, this is Forte. And Matt Forte takes it out close to the 40-yard line. Gain of 5. Moses Foku made the tackle for the 9th-ranked Eagles defense.
A 9th-ranked defense that has really improved over the last 3 weeks. One of the biggest areas against the run. Brandon Graham gets the start for Jaquay Parker, who's down this afternoon. Antonio Dixon's been huge against the run. Stuart Bradley back and healthy. That linebacker group very good. Asante Samuel inactive today. Joselio Hansen gets the start. That'll be something we'll keep an eye on during the course of the game, is how those corners hold up for Philadelphia.
Penalty markers prior to the snap.
Full start. Offense number 68. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That's the left tackle, Frank Omiel. Lovie Smith's Bears lead the league in false start penalties this season.
And you can't beat yourself. In pre-snap penalties, we've seen several teams this season that are struggling. The Bears very fortunate to be able to overcome some of those tough starts, but against this Eagles defense, they cannot allow pre-snap penalties to become something that happens throughout the afternoon.
Bears must get to the 44 for a first down as Cutler is taken down back at the 28-yard line by Trent Cole, his 8th sack this season.
I'll tell you what, Trent Cole comes with a great rush. Just clubs to the outside, turns his shoulder. Here he is on the outside on your left hand of your screen. He goes, gets right by, keeps coming, doesn't stop, and takes Cutler down.
That was a great job of keeping his balance as he came around the corner there, Goose, to stay in his lane.
With that sack, Cole now third in Eagles history. Only Reggie White and Clyde Simmons with more sacks in an Eagles uniform than Trent Cole. Terrific kick by Brad Maynard, forcing Deshaun Jackson all the way back to the 17-yard line. Wants to turn upfield, and Jackson is forced out of bounds by the punter Maynard. Goose, you talked about special teams. A big return by Jackson of 35 yards. Well, both teams have won their last 3 games. Eagles have done it with offense, Bears with defense.
Well, it's kind of one of those classics. Something has got to give games. You look at how the offense for Philadelphia matches up against the defense for Chicago. Which group is going to make the plays necessary this afternoon? I'm really, really excited because they are very, very different styles. Philadelphia is built around getting that big play down the field, and Chicago, this defense is built. That's the one thing you're not supposed to be able to do against the style that Chicago plays.
There he goes. Michael Vick spreading him out. Look for a big play downfield.
Quick pass to Deshaun Jackson, and he gains 6. Tim Jennings the tackle.
And sometimes it's that simple, just getting the ball into Deshaun Jackson's hands on the outside. You saw how elusive he was on that punt return, and both Deshaun Jackson and Jeremy Maclin have a return background.
We welcome those of you who have just joined us. Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa in Chicago. Both teams went 3 and out on their opening drives. Michael Vick and the Eagles now second down and 4 from the Bears 44. LaShawn McCoy picks up a first down. He is forced out of bounds at the Bears 34 by Charles Tillman after picking up 11.
And I'm not sure if that was a design play. I think that is something that Michael Vick is very conscious of, is finding his check down. And it could be just LaShawn McCoy on the swing pass, not necessarily somebody downfield. And I really think that that's going to help him, because if he can get that, if he can get comfortable with finding his checkdowns, instead of him pulling the ball down and running and taking those unnecessary hits and really being tired in the fourth quarter, finding that checkdown is going to help him out tremendously.
He would love to conserve some energy off the fake end around to Jackson. Vick cuts away from Julius Peppers. He spins and steps out of bounds at the 30. Did not conserve any energy on that play.
Yeah, he didn't take any hits.
Julius Peppers does a great job of pass rushing here on the outside. See number 90. He comes clean a little bit up underneath here, but Michael Vick, little stutter step, gets to the outside, but he's not stopping. Julius Peppers has an unbelievable motor. He is going to come until he hears that whistle blow. That's what makes him a great player, huh, Darryl?
Yeah, it was a good job by Jason Peters staying with it, too. And you know that when you've got Michael Vick, you've got to stay on your feet and keep working. Just a little push could give that enough for Michael Vick to extend that play.
Second down and 7. LaShawn McCoy up the middle. McCoy down to the 27. Time for a game break. Here's Kurt Menefee. Kurt.
And time to check in with Kansas City at Seattle. Matt Castle hooking up with Dwayne Bose. 7 straight game. Bose had a receiving touchdown, and it put the Chiefs on top. 7-0. Still early. Kenny Moose and Goose.
Thanks, Kurt. Seahawks in first place in the NFC West. Falling behind early. Third down and 3 off the play fake. Vick sets. Now he throws. And the catch is unable to be made by Brent Selleck.
And that's what I mean right there. You're going to have opportunities for the big play, but you've got to take advantage of them. Brent Selleck, this is a great job. Sell it, get lost. Now down the field. Lance Briggs loses him. And there's your shot down the field for the big play. You're going to be challenged all afternoon to have that opportunity. When they're there, Michael Vick has to take advantage of them. He missed that one.
Looks like Michael Vick just laid that up nice and easy. Didn't have a lot on it, and that wind might have kept it aloft a little bit more than he thought.
So here's David Akers from 45 yards out. His kick is good. David Akers playing in his 183rd game, as you saw, tying Brian Dawkins' franchise record. Eagles lead by 3.
Because it's a bad.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
Deshaun Jackson with the 35-yard punt return, leading to the David Akers field goal. Devin Hester, 13 career kick or punt return touchdowns, tied for the NFL record with Brian Mitchell. Hester forced to go across the field to scoop it up, and now looks to go back the other way. A lot of running. Hester forced out of bounds by Trevard Lindley. Jay Cutler and the Bears offense. 3 and out on their opening drive. Cutler looks left on first down. Now moves to his left. Crosses the 30 and stepped out of bounds just shy of the marker.
And I think one of the things that's happened over the last 3 weeks, too, during this Bears win streak is Jay Cutler has made some nice plays with his feet. You're going to see here, he's going to look for the throw. Devin Aromashodu is covered number 19. Just pull the ball down. You know, early in the season, sometimes he had so much confidence in that arm that he'd try and fit a ball. In the last few games, he's been just pulling it down and making plays with his feet.
Jay Cutler's got that sneaky speed, too, Darryl. Doesn't look like he's running fast, but he's got some moves.
2nd and 1, here's Forte. First down and more. Matt Forte across midfield. Down the sideline. And finally forced out of bounds inside the 10 at the Eagles' 9-yard line. Forte gained 61.
When you have a long run, a lot of times it's because the running back made somebody miss, and Matt Forte made Stuart Bradley miss right in the hole. Watch number 55 come in. He's in great position. He misses right there. Now Matt Forte is into the secondary.
In this defense that the Eagles run, everyone has a gap. And that's exactly what happens. You're right, Darryl. Stuart Bradley missed that tackle, and that's exactly what happens.
Now Cutler gives it right back to Forte. And this time he's bottled up by Ernie Sims for a loss of a yard.
And that's what happens when you stay in your gap.
Ernie Sims, too.
Now Forte comes out. He had a 68-yard run earlier this season. 61 on the previous play. There's offensive coordinator Mike Martz.
And he's brought into the philosophy that, you know, we don't have to win this offensively. We've got a great defense. We've got Devin Hester, who's so dangerous in special teams. Just go out and be efficient, convert on third downs, don't make big mistakes.
Cutler to the end zone, touchdown, Earl Bennett.
Slot with Earl Bennett. Nate Allen a little bit late getting there. You can see how Joselio Hansen played it. He felt he had more help to the inside. He was playing very heavy to the outside.
Robbie Gould adds the extra point. Bennett and Cutler, teammates at Vanderbilt. Bennett's 2nd touchdown reception this season. Back in Chicago, the Bears drive 79 yards in only 4 plays, thanks in large part to Matt Forte's 61-yard run, and then a 10-yard touchdown to Bennett.
And one of the things that Philadelphia's defense has done a great job of the last few games is run defense against good running teams. They've got to get that one fixed.
Jordan Calvin on the return for the Eagles. Out to the 27-yard line. Josh Bullock's the tackle on special teams. 7-3 Chicago.
And not to emphasize it more than we should every day, but especially as we get into the holiday season. We just had Thanksgiving. We got a lot of our soldiers away from family members. We got Christmas coming up. So thank you for everything you guys do.
Thank you for letting us do what we do. We appreciate everything.
We hope you enjoyed today's game with the Bears leading the Eagles 7-3. Eagles start from their own 27-yard line as Vick finds Jason Avant, who slips down at the 32. Avant grew up here in Chicago, and he gains 5 on his first reception today.
And that'll be interesting to watch during the course of the game is how does this field hold up with the footing? And it is a little soft, and we walked on it. It's been worn a little bit. It's much different than it was 2 weeks ago when we were here for Minnesota. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the middle's a lot different than the outside. You know, the middle's really matted down there, and the outside's a little bit thicker, and that's where he slipped on the outside.
Second down and 5 as Vick is wrapped up. Got rid of the football, but he was ruled down back at the 26-yard line. It's the second Bears sack. Matt Tuina wrapping up Michael Vick.
Again, it's only 4 guys rushing, and at one point, it was Todd Hermans and Jason Peters on Matt Tuina, so he just keeps working. These guys are absolutely relentless with their pass rush. You cannot allow 4 to get to your quarterback. That means Michael Vick has got to hold the ball. He's trying to find his wide receivers with 7 people in coverage.
Third down and 11. Eagles must get to the 37 for a first down. Vick spins away from Melton. Still looking. Escapes from Melton once again. And is tackled at the 31 by Tuina. So Vick gains 5, but the Eagles forced to punt.
It is so critical playing this style of defense to be able to get pressure with your 4. Because here goes everybody back into coverage. Look at the depth of the safeties. They are dropping out so deep, nothing is going to get by them. They're going to challenge Michael Vick to make touch throws in between the linebackers and the safeties.
Sav Rocca punting for the second time. Hester from the 32. Knocked out of bounds after he crosses the 40. So good field position for the Bears, who lead by 4. "44-degree day here in Chicago with the Bears leading the Eagles 7-3. 7-3 is the record of both clubs, both in first place in their respective divisions. The Bears have beaten only one team with a winning record. That was Green Bay back in week 3. But Lovie Smith told us we are not apologizing for our record.
No, and I don't think it's the fact that they've only beaten one team with a winning record at this point. I think it's something else, and we'll get into that after this play.
From the 41-yard line, Justin Taylor loses his footing and loses a yard. Trent Cole with the pressure.
I think more than their strength of schedule coming into this game, when you talk about a team that's 7-3 and not getting a lot of respect, the one time that they were on the national stage was against the New York Giants, and they gave up 9 sacks in the first half. And when you do that, I think that sticks in people's minds, and they've been trying to kind of fight through that since that game, and it's been an uphill battle. These teams both have 7-3 records. We look at Philadelphia as perhaps the most explosive offense and a very difficult team in the NFL, and the Chicago Bears, you're like, really? They're 7-3? I didn't realize that they were leading the NFC North.
Second down at 11. Cutler gets rid of it quickly. Hester, first down and more. Devin Hester is inside the Eagles 30 and finally brought down at the 21-yard line as Hester gains 39.
And that's going to be one of the plays that Devin Hester has in this offense as they monitor his snaps. Just a little bubble screen. Get it to him quick. Earl Bennett, great job. Edwin Williams, Chris Williams, an outstanding job coming from the left guard spot and getting a great block. Good touch by Jay Cutler right there over Nate Allen. Good play call into the Philadelphia blitz.
They're absolutely right. What a great job of them offensive line getting downfield and getting blocks on those little guys.
Here's Taylor, spins inside the 20 as we check in once again with Kurt Menefee. Kurt.
Buffalo trying to win his 3rd game in a row, taking Pittsburgh to overtime. There, Ryan Fitzpatrick hooking up with a wide open Steve Johnson, but he dropped it. So overtime continues. Sean Sweesham's 4th field goal of the day wins it in OT, 19-16. Buffalo's 3rd overtime loss this season. Kenny Moose and Goose.
Wow, Thanks, Kurt. Sean Sweezan brought in a couple of weeks ago to replace Jeff Reed in Pittsburgh. 2nd down and 9. Off the play fake. Cutler fires. Touchdown, Johnny Knox.
Very impressed with Chicago right now, what they're doing as a team. All 3 phases. There's Johnny Knox working against Joselio Hansen, who's in for the injured Asante Samuel. And again, a little slip on the throw.
Called the extra point. 2nd touchdown reception of the season by Knox.
Chicago's doing a nice job of giving Jay Cutler plenty of time to throw. He has an opportunity for this play to develop. You see the slip by Joselio Hansen on the cut by Johnny Knox. Watch, here it is. Works to the inside as he breaks out, loses his balance. And when you're on a soft turf, you've got to keep your weight over your toes. If you get back on your heels, your feet are going to slide out, and that's what happened to Joselio, is he tried to react to that break back outside by Johnny Knox.
That's called home field advantage right there, huh, Darryl? Knowing your field.
Well, now you got to make the adjustment. Whether you have to go put in some longer cleats or just be really, really conscious of the fact that when I'm getting in and out of my breaks this afternoon, I have got to be perfect with my technique, with my body weight over my toes.
And changing cleats, one of the keys, Darryl, you were telling us last night, to your first Super Bowl victory with the Dallas Cowboys.
It really was. We went out in the first quarter and we were slipping all over the place, and we changed very quickly. Went from half-inch to 5/8, and even some guys went into 3/4 inch cleats, and all of a sudden it started to help us with our footing during that game. And I think it was one of the small subplots that nobody talked about.
Here's Calvin from the 8. Return by Jordan Calvin. Out across the 35, a 27-yard return. Well, Fox tonight, a Thanksgiving tragedy strikes an all-new Simpsons. Now somebody or something's got to go, or this is going to be one holiday for the birds. Don't miss an all-new episode of The Simpsons at 8, 7 Central tonight on Fox. Yeah! We hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. Big play is the key for the Bears here in this first quarter.
Look at how deep those safeties are.
They're bailing out, too, on the snap of the ball.
And then Vic finds his man, Clay Harbor, who grew up here in Illinois in Chicago territory, as he caught it in front of those deep safeties.
And again, watch at the top. You're going to have a slip, and that allows Clay Harbor to get there. As Daniel Manning came up, or no, was it Major Wright? Major Wright, as he comes up out of his back pedal, he slips. That's enough time for Clay Harbor to get into that area. And I think that that's going to be one of the big challenges this afternoon for Michael Vick. They're going to force him to throw touch passes over the linebacker and in front of the safeties.
From the 41 on first down, Vick dumps it off to McCoy. He's tackled at the 34-yard line by Brian Urlacher. There's one of those checkdowns you were talking about earlier for Michael Vick.
Yeah, and he's showing a great deal of patience up until this point. He missed one throw early in the game when he had Brent Selleck down the seam on a bootleg. But other than that, he's been very good. He hasn't forced anything yet, and that's what this defense challenges you. They're going to try and frustrate Michael Vick and Marty Mornhinweg to make a play, to try and fit something down the field, and then jump on it and make the interception.
Keep an eye on those safeties, how fast they're bailing out on this pass.
On 2nd and 4, inside handoff to McCoy. McCoy to the 34-yard line. Lance Briggs, Tommy Harris.
They're even tackle. Hey, Darryl, even the safeties are even bailing out when it's a run. You know, they're not even looking in the backfield. It's like they're almost lining up at 14, 15 yards and trying to get to 20, 22 yards, you know, before Michael gets his feet set. But, you know, they're not really keeping an eye on the backfield, and they're bailing out.
I think they have so much confidence in that front seven, Tony, to handle that run that they don't have to worry about it wearing that two deep safeties.
And they are handling the run right now.
as Vick fires, and a tremendous catch is made inside the 20-yard line by Jason Avant, who reached up for it, picks up 15 yards, and an Eagles first down.
You're going to have to get into these soft spots and find that area, right? That's a nice job by Jason Avant in between Lance Briggs and Brian Urlacher. And a great catch. Look at that, go up. That's excellent.
So the Eagles move the chains. New set of downs when we come back. First quarter comes to an end. Fox NFL Sunday will return after these messages. Jay Cutler with a pair of touch passes in the first quarter. Andy Reid's Eagles had not a point in the first quarter over their last 5 games, but they trail this one 14-3 as we start the second. Eagles in the red zone. First and 10 from the Bears, 19-yard line. Vick throws, and the pass incomplete, intended for Deshaun Jackson.
They got to make that catch. You are not going to get a lot of opportunities to get the ball down the field like that. And it's everything is done well. I mean, Deshaun Jackson does a great job of finding the soft spot, getting into that area where he's got a direct line of sight back to Michael Vick. There's that strength to be able to fit it into those small windows. Now just finish it. Just finish that catch.
Second and 10. 3 wide receiver set. McCoy in the backfield to give to McCoy. And he spins down to the 11-yard line, a gain of 8.
I am still always surprised when I look at the stats for the Philadelphia Eagles in their running game, because we think about Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson and Jeremy Maclin and everything they can do throwing the ball. And then you look at their running stats, and LeSean McCoy, has great games. It was really the key in the fourth quarter last week against the Giants. They stuck with it, popped 2 big runs, but yards per carry and yards per game, Philadelphia is always near the top in the NFL.
On 3rd down and 2, the toss to Jackson. And Deshaun Jackson looks to have the first down. He was tackled by Tim Jennings.
Michael Vick likes to mix it up, but I don't think you want to mix it up right there with Julius Peppers. He comes there on the outside and gets... All right, Mike, that's a nice job getting his way a little bit and get out of the way, because that guy right there, will put a hurting on you.
Goosey moved to the left defensive end position. He's been flip-flopping a little bit during the course of the game here. That's when you throw the pitch and you wheel out. You expect to see Israel Adonijah out there, and you're like, hey, wait a minute. What's he doing over here?
Exactly. And they've had their battles during their days in the NFC South. Here's Vick throwing it through the end zone, intended for the tight end, Brent Selleck.
That's a good decision, though. Throw it away. Put it up where nobody can get it.
You talk about playing the quarterback position, and Michael Vick told us yesterday, I landed in a good place. It's a chance for me to learn. I trust my coaches.
Oh, he landed in a great place. I mean, Marty Morningway and Andy Reid have done a tremendous job making Michael Vick into really an NFL quarterback. Not an athlete playing the quarterback position, but his fundamentals have improved so much under their tutelage.
Here's Vick on 2nd and goal to the end zone, and Urlacher got a hand on it. Pass intended for Riley Cooper.
And look how big Brian Urlacher is. Now you're down in the red zone, and he's so fast, he's so big, he's so athletic. He's going to close down the windows in these zone defenses. That's a throw that Riley Cooper is going to catch against most middle linebackers, but he is so athletic that he's able to knock that down.
If Brian Urlacher doesn't tip that ball, that's a touchdown. Because both defenders were looking at the receiver and not at the ball.
Now 3rd and goal for Vick and the Eagles. Vick to the end zone. The catch is made this time for a touchdown by Jeremy Maclin.
Offensive line doing a good job of giving Michael Vick time in the pocket.
And I also think, Tony, that you're so worried about Michael Vick pulling the ball down and running. What a great job by Jeremy Maclin staying alive. Piso Tinuisamoa gets away with a little hold right there, but he just keeps working. That's a great job of fighting through that. But I think that defense, you're so aware of Michael Vick at the quarterback spot, pulling that ball down and running, that as it got late in the play, they took their eyes off of where they were in their zones.
Anchors the extra point. 8th touchdown reception of the season for Macklin. Eagles pull to within 4. Field, Eagles drive 10 plays, 65 yards. And Michael Vick now with 12 touchdowns, no interceptions. The last quarterback to throw at least 12 touchdowns from the start of a season with no picks. Randall Cunningham with the 98 Vikings.
That was a pretty good offensive team right there, Randall Cunningham.
You ain't kidding.
Vikings lost only 1 game that season during the regular season before losing to the Falcons in the NFC Championship game. Here's Danielle Manning, not Hester on the return, and Manning takes it out to midfield. We saw Devin Hester earlier. Now it's Manning who's 8th in the NFC in kickoff return average, and he brings this one out 44 yards.
I hope nobody on the Philadelphia kickoff coverage team kind of looked back there and said, number 23's not back there. We're all right on this one. You've got to get down, keep your lanes. And again, it works in conjunction with what this team has been doing over the last 3 weeks. Great defense, great special teams, puts their offense in favorable field position.
They start from the 47. Bears with touchdowns on their last 2 possessions. Both set up by big plays. Forte had one of them, a 61-yard run, but he's tackled for a loss of 2 by Antonio Dixon.
Well, there was a big change coming out of the bye for the Chicago Bears, and they had been throwing the ball a bunch. We talked about their performance against the New York Giants. There were times when they were completely out of whack from run pass. That has changed. They've become a lot more balanced. You look at those first 7 games, 60-40, just to be easy. And then 53-47. That's a huge change. And for Mike Martz, he is known as the mad scientist of offense, but it's about that passing game. And he's been able to kind of put his ego aside. Jay Cutler put his ego aside and come out and function within the dynamic of this team. Now they just have to get lined up.
Yes, some confusion, and the Bears use their first time out. So Cutler will head over for a chat with Mike Martz. There's Sean McDermott, the Eagles' defensive coordinator.
We had them at Tennessee, and they had a fourth-quarter meltdown and gave up 27 points to not really Tennessee, but basically Kenny Britt. And since that time, there's been a refocus with what Sean McDermott has done with his defense, and this Eagles defense has responded also. So this is going to be a great matchup during the course of the afternoon. We've talked a lot about that other one, the Chicago Bear defense against Michael Vick and that explosive Eagles offense, but this one is going to be fun to watch too because of the fact that they're in transition. They're trying to find their role to fit in with this team. Can they stay with it?
The Eagles have not lost since that Tennessee game. They had a bye the next week and have won their last 3. Second down and 12 from the 45. Cutler moving to his right. Can't find anyone downfield. And is forced out of bounds after gaining a yard.
Good coverage by the Eagles on this play. They show blitz, they pull out of it, play zone behind it. As Jay Cutler is moving to his right, that's going to be a tough throw. He's got Ernie Sims coming from the inside out on him. One of those 8 running plays, a big run by Matt Forte to set up one of the Bears' touchdowns.
And then a 39-yard pass to Hester set up the other. Hester in motion on 3rd down and 11. Bears must get to the Eagles' 43, and Cutler is sacked back at the 37-yard line by the rookie out of Michigan, Brandon Graham. It's his 3rd of the year.
And this is just a blown assignment by the protection of the Chicago Bears. You cannot come that clean.
Looked like rookie against rookie there with Jamarcus Webb with right tackle. Comes crashing down to help Garza out, but doesn't see Brandon Graham there on the outside. Sometimes they're the toughest plays. When you're scot-free, you're thinking, oh, what's going on here? They're going to block me. They're doing some kind of trick play. That's the hardest time to go and get one of the quarterbacks down. He does a great job of finishing, Brandon Graham.
So Goose, the Bears have now allowed a league-high 39 sacks this season, including 2 today. Penalty marker. as Macklin was forced out of bounds after a 5-yard return. Scott Green, our referee.
We got one of the officials with his hat off, so somebody's out of bounds. See if it was somebody didn't work hard enough to get back in bounds.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, kicking team. Number 21 went out of bounds, to come down and cover the kick. 15-yard penalty, first down.
21 is Corey Graham, so that will cost Chicago 15 yards. During the return,
he's really pleading his case, but I don't think he's got much of a case, Goose.
Yeah, if you take a look at this, right now he's at the heater, then he grabs a Gatorade, and then he comes back out. Tell you what, not a bad job, not a bad job. You guys got to get back out there a little bit faster, or they're going to throw a flag on you.
So the Eagles benefit following the 15-yard penalty, and now Vick forced to throw it away as he was under pressure from Israel Adonijah.
I am so impressed by Chicago's front right now. Last week against the Giants got to Michael Vick a couple of times, but they did it bringing pressure. They did a +1 blitz. If Philadelphia had 6 people in for protection, they brought 7. And today, Chicago is doing this with just their down 4.
Both teams are rushing 4. Philly's not really getting it done. A little bit they are, but Chicago's really bringing the heat on Michael Vick.
2nd and 10, LeSean McCoy finds a hole, picks up a first down. McCoy takes it to the Bears' 41, a gain of 18. Time for a game break. Here's Kurt.
Pay attention, Saragusa. Defensive tackle Sean Smith, playing fullback, bowls his way into the end zone for Kansas City. A 1-yard score, 14-7. Chiefs lead the Seahawks. Either Goose or the Fridge are dancing right now. Maybe both.
Both my guys are happy, Kurt. It's a defensive player at the fullback position.
Let me tell you something. They should be doing more of that, Kurt. See how he goes right in there? That was beautiful.
Now from the 41, off the play fake. Vick, downfield, first down. DeSean Jackson with Urlacher on the coverage. Jackson gains 19.
Looks like them safeties are bailing out a little bit too much for Michael Vick, Darryl.
Well, you know what? A lot of these throws are deep down the field, so you got to be able to hold it. Look at how far down DeSean Jackson gets. The throw by Michael Vick is amazing. So he's got to have some time to throw it, but watch him stand in the face of pressure by Tommy Harris. Just hangs in there and then just throws a laser to DeSean Jackson.
Yeah, he just sits down right in the area, right in front of Chris Harris and behind those linebackers. That's the area that they want to attack.
1st and 10 from the Bears' 20. As Vick throws, and the catch is made by Macklin for another Eagles first down, gain of 11.
LeSean McCoy, what a great block on a defensive lineman to go and give Michael Vick time to look downfield. Here he is in the backfield right here, 25. Great job on Pisa slowing him down to give Michael Vick time. You like that, Darryl, don't you?
I know he's a pit guy and you're trying to drum him up, but Pisa's a linebacker. He's not a D lineman.
Hey, he's big enough to be a lineman, no doubt.
It was nice.
Gotta give him some kind of
good.
So McCoy picking up Tino Isaboa. Now 1st and goal from the Bears' 10. Shovel pass, and it hits off Nick Cole, the right guard.
That's a forward pass, though.
It was going to be a good play. If Brent Celek can make this catch, they've got Chicago upfield, both players. Look at that. He hits Nick Cole with it. If not, Brent Celek's going to catch it. Nick Cole's going to wrap around, and they've got that set up and blocked very well.
So Nick Cole getting in the way. Now 2nd and goal. McCoy, the lone back. 3 receivers. Avant, slot to the left. Vick takes off. He's inside the 5, dives forward to the 3-yard line. Gain of 7.
Todd Harriman does a great job downfield of blocking for Michael Vick. That was a design quarterback draw. Nice job. You talked about it earlier, Dow. That's something, you know, when you're playing against Michael Vick and the Philadelphia Eagles, you got to be aware of that. Even right now, those linebackers still have that play back in their head. Any time you could go in a quarterback draw and go for the end zone.
3rd down and 3. Vick under pressure from Peppers, loses the football, and it's down back at the 18-yard line.
Just great team defense by Julius Peppers. Understanding who's playing quarterback, understanding what your responsibility is in the defense, and playing him to a T.
But if you're going to block anybody, you block Julius Peppers. And they have him completely unblocked. Looked like Owen Schmidt did not get the block on him. You can't let him come scot-free because he will take your quarterback down and force fumbles like we just saw.
So now a 36-yard attempt by Akers. David Akers now 2 for 2. But the Bears hold the Eagles to 3. Chicago leads by 1.
Today's game is sponsored by Burger King. Have it your way.
There's Julius Peppers in the middle. He now has 6 sacks of Michael Vick in his career. That's more than any other defensive player in the NFL.
And you saw the athleticism on that last play where it's him and Michael Vick in space, and he's so athletic that as a defensive end, he can make that play. And it was funny to hear Marty Mornhinweg talk about this Bears defense. We think of it as a bend but don't break defense. He said, I don't see a whole lot of bend in them, and they really have been like that this afternoon. They're doing a great job against this explosive Philadelphia offense so far.
Not much bend whatsoever. Manning on the return, brought down at the 19-yard line with just over 8 minutes remaining. Second quarter here in Chicago. Fox's football coverage doesn't end when the games are over. After this game, stick around for the OT with Kurt, Terry, Howie, Jimmy, and Michael. They will bring you exclusive interviews, extended highlights, and a look ahead to next week's action. America's #1 postgame show, the OT, presented by Lowe's, coming up after the Bears and the Eagles on Fox. Bears back at offense from their own 19-yard line, leading by 1. Cutler hands it off to Forte, right behind the center, Olin Krutz. And Forte gains 2 out to the 21-yard line.
And look at all those Philadelphia Eagle defensive players over there to make the tackle. And it's one of the hallmarks you'll see on both of these defenses is hustle and pursuit to the ball. If you're carrying the ball, don't expect to be tackled by one player.
The Bears with 128 total yards, 100 have come on 2 plays. The Forte 61-yard run and the 39-yard pass to Devin Hester.
Now, here we are talking about the explosive Philadelphia Eagle offense, and it's the Bears with a couple of big plays of their own so far this afternoon.
And those plays led to the 2 Bears touchdowns. Now Cutler under pressure, and he is sacked for the 3rd time today. It's the first of the season for Mike Patterson.
And again, Tony, it's somebody turned loose right away.
Yeah. I don't know. It's got to be a breakdown on the line of scrimmage. Let's take a look. Yeah, half the line is sliding to the left and half the line is sliding to the right. Looked like they were trying to set up a screen, but you got to get somebody on them big guys up front. You know, you just can't let them run free. Mike Patterson does a great job of just coming right upfield and sacking, you know, Jay Cutler.
They're getting fooled by a pre-snap look, Tony. They're walking the linebackers up into the A-gap between the guard and center, and they're making a call for the guard to come down. And when those linebackers pull out, it's too late for them to get back on that defensive tackle.
Now Cutler on 3rd down and 16, in trouble, sacked for the 4th time today. And for the 2nd time, it's Trent Cole.
How many people do we talk about that play left tackle around the league that say Trent Cole is one of the toughest guys to block? And Frank Omiyale's got him right there. He has great pad level. He has a relentless motor. You have to block him for the entire time, but a lot of people look at him as a speed rusher, but because of the leverage he plays with, he's also a strength guy.
So now Maynard punting out of his own end zone. And this will set up terrific field position for the Eagles as the fair catch is called for by Deshaun Jackson at the Bears 46. 2 sacks for Trent Cole today.
Ties is getting with his guys on the sideline, trying to get them on the same page. They have not been good the last 2 series with their protection.
You got to love how the offensive linemen, too, all sit in order. Olin Kreutz in the middle, his left guard's on his left, his right guard's on his right. Those guys are great.
All the time, Goose.
Creatures of habit on the offensive side of the ball.
Absolutely.
Creatures of habit.
Mike Tice, of course, the former Vikings head coach. Eagles start from the Bears, 46, and McCoy is tackled for a loss of 2 by DJ Moore.
You can see that coming in, and a lot of times an offense will have the ability for one of the wide receivers to motion in and make that block. You could have motioned in here and then peeled out and blocked DJ Moore.
Now 2nd down and 12 for the Eagles, who trail the Bears by a point. From the 48-yard line. Vick to the tight end, Brent Selleck. Selleck tackled at the 39. Gain of 9.
Tell you what, the Chicago Bears defensive line with these line stunts up front. Watch the tackle end right here. Yeah. Nice job of Israel Adonijah coming around. I mean, these guys work so well together. Tackle ends, I see. Ends going first, tackles around. It's really hurting this offensive line for the Eagles right now.
You can see the hits starting to pile up on Michael Vick here in the first half.
Split backs, McCoy and Harrison, 3rd down and 3. Eagles must get to the 36. Vick throws, the catch is made, and diving for a first down is Macklin. Gain of 5, so Jeremy Macklin with his 3rd reception, including a touchdown early in the 2nd quarter.
I think it's funny, Tony, when you watch the way defenses attack, and right now it looks as though the Bears feel like on their defensive left, going up against Winston Justice and Nick Cole, they're going to challenge those two to move their feet. And we saw that stunt on back-to-back plays with Israel Adonijah coming up the field and then wrapping under. Now they've got Julius Peppers working that side.
From the Bears 34, inside handoff to Harrison, who gained over 100 yards on the ground 2 weeks ago against the Washington Redskins. And Harrison takes it down to the 32-yard line, gain of 2. Under 4 minutes remaining, 2nd quarter from Soldier Field in Chicago. Both teams in first place with records of 7 and 3. Bears lead by 1. 2nd and 8. 3 wide receivers set for the Eagles. Vick over the middle, complete for a first down to Avant. Jason Avant takes it down to the Bears' 22-yard line before he's brought down by Lance Briggs.
Well, this has been a nice adjustment by Marty Mornhinweg right there, and the plays that he's calling. All right, they're going to drop their coverage deep. Let's start working those little small windows underneath. You see Brian Urlacher running out. He's going to drop down into the middle of the field and leave that open. Nice release, nice follow through by Michael Vick.
From the Bears' 22-yard line, Vick backpedaling, sets up the screen to McCoy. And LaShawn McCoy has another Eagles first down as he is finally brought down at the 8-yard line after picking up 14.
Slow to get up right now.
Yeah,
See what happens at the end of this screen.
looks like he could have landed right on that ball, little Darryl.
And remember, McCoy has had a shoulder issue. 1st and goal from the 8 when we return.
All the trimmings. It all starts tonight at 8/7 Central on Fox.
Looks like LaShawn McCoy re-injured that right shoulder. He's been carrying that with him all season long after week 4. Just unbelievable his performance against San Francisco in week 5 that he was able to play. You see when you come down on that shoulder and then you've got the body weight of the defender, it just wreaks havoc in that joint.
He's buckling back up, though. Those pit guys are tough, Darryl.
I tell you, he's earned everybody's respect this season, Tony.
Replaced by Harrison on this play. First and goal from the 8. Vick out of the shotgun. Vick saw Peppers, gets rid of it to Harrison, and Urlacher makes the tackle as Harrison gains 4 yards down to the 4 of Chicago as we hit the 2-minute warning. Here at Soldier Field, McCoy looking to come back in. Eagles on the move, trailing by 1. To go, second quarter in Chicago. Bears lead the Eagles by 1. Second and goal for the Eagles from the Chicago 4-yard line.
And the Eagles said that LeSean McCoy just had the wind knocked out of him. It's not his shoulder, so he's back in.
McCoy in the slot to the right. Empty backfield. Vick's pass is deflected and intercepted by Chris Harris. First time Vick has been picked off all season, and who chases him down to make the tackle? LeSean McCoy. Harris comes up with his 3rd pick of the year and returns it 38 yards.
That's what happens when you get down into the red zone and you're dropping 7 guys into coverage. You're going to have a ton of hands up in the air to deflect balls, and you've got all those defenders there waiting on it. Tommy Harris gets his hand up, gets deflected. Chris Harris comes in and grabs it. Great hustle by LeSean McCoy getting back.
And Michael Vick also. He was on the trail. He wasn't going to let him go in. Nice angular pursuit, but that whole Bears defense, boy, they wanted to put 7 points on the board.
Absolutely. Did a great job of getting all the big guys sealed. It was hustled by the skill players from Philadelphia. They kept that from being a pick 6.
Vick had gone 238 attempts without a pick. His first since December of 06. And now Cutler over the middle to Hester. Heading for the sidelines, he's out of bounds at midfield, picked up 13.
You can see how dangerous Devin Hester is when he gets that ball in his hands. The ability as a punt returner and a kick returner, once it's in space, he's extremely dangerous. Short passes to him with some area to work, and a 5-yard pass can become a touchdown.
Bears with 2 timeouts, 1:44 remaining. Looking to capitalize on the game's first turnover. Cutler to Bennett. Breaks away from Dimitri Patterson. Bennett still on his feet. Bradley couldn't bring him down. Patterson finally does at the Eagles' 8-yard line.
I think he stepped out of bounds a little earlier than that.
You're right, Goose. He's marked out at the 20. 30-yard completion from Cutler to Bennett.
Well, Dimitri Patterson goes for the ball, misses. He's out of position. Then another missed tackle. Stuart Bradley hustling. He gets him out of bounds.
So it's the 3rd play of at least 30 yards for the Bears on offense today.
Big plays will kill you, Darryl. Exactly what the Bears are doing right now and have all game.
And who would have thought that coming in Chicago with twice as many big plays than Philadelphia?
This is their second
now the Bears use
timeout.
their second timeout with the play clock winding down. Coming up, the Visa halftime report with Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. They'll be along with scores and highlights, and the Fox Sports ticker will have all the latest stats. That's coming up on the Visa halftime report. Leslie Frazier, the former Bear, with a win in his first game as Vikings head coach. Bears have 1 timeout remaining. 1st and 10 from the Eagles' 20. After the Eagles commit the game's first turnover. They were on the Chicago 4-yard line, and Vick's pass was deflected and then intercepted by Chris Harris. And now the Bears look to extend their lead prior to halftime. 3 wide receivers set. Cutler has time, throws, looking for Hester in the end zone. Lindley and Allen on the coverage.
Good job in coverage there. They had a nice route combination, but they didn't fool Philadelphia's secondary. You're going to have Johnny Knox on the whip, which is in and then back out. Devin Hester slips a little bit at the top of the route, but Trevor Lindley in a good position to defend that.
Cutler feeling that pressure a little bit. He stands in there, though, in that pocket and gets a throw off.
You know, Goose, I think that was part of that play. You come back on a 3-step, you pump it to to Johnny Knox on that little inside-out move, and then you take 2 more to be able to take your long shot down the field.
2nd and 10. Cutler gets rid of it quickly to Johnny Knox inside the 10, and tackled by Stuart Bradley at the 6-yard line. 14-yard pass play.
Well, good coverage on the previous play, but not on that one. Somebody left Johnny Knox on the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a huge cushion right there on Johnny.
That's a lot to ask Trevor Lindley to get down there to make that play. He's on the outside. Johnny Knox goes into the slot area. He's got to come down from about, he's about 8 or 10 yards off the ball.
1st and goal from the Eagles 6. Cutler, end zone, off the right shoulder of Bennett. No flags. Osalio Hansen on the coverage.
What'd you think, Goose? I thought it was a good no call. You're right there.
Yeah, no, I thought that was good coverage.
Working out of the slot. Gets his head around. I think that's nice by the officials letting him play. You get your eyes back on the football, and you'll get that no call.
Second and goal from the 6. Cutler backpedaling. Now goes the other way. Bennett, touchdown.
Everybody fooled with his eyes. Everybody looking to the left. Winds up throwing to the right. Fooled all those defenders.
And he got me, Tony. I was focused on Devin Hester out in the slot to the offense's left.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a fade to the corner. Watch him right here. He's looking off to the left-hand side. All the defenders looking that way. Comes back right, just dumps the ball right off.
I tell you, that was not a lot of area for him to make this throw either. Watch Quinton Michael, number 27, in coverage. That's a heck of a throw by Jay Cutler off the back foot. And as you pointed out, Tony, sold it really well to the other side. What a big turn of events at the end of the half. It looks like Philly's going to maybe go in for a touchdown to go up 20-14 going in at halftime. Now 21-13 Chicago. The defense makes the pick, and then the offense picks it up and has a great drive to finish it for 7.
First career 2-touchdown game for Bennett. Bears now tied with the Eagles for the league lead in takeaways, and we asked Lovie Smith about it. He said in our first meeting this week, we emphasized just that, takeaways. Philadelphia has 26. We have 25. Bears with the first takeaway today, and it leads to a touchdown.
It's a cornerstone of what Lovie Smith has instilled here with this defense, is taking the ball away. And Rod Marinelli is doing a great job as defensive coordinator. But their issue has been turning the ball over. And the last 3 weeks, they've done a great job of not turning it over.
Calvin on the return for Philadelphia. Stop shy of the 25. So Michael Vick intercepted for the first time this season by Chris Harris. Bears drive down and score. They now lead by 8. Eagles with 31 seconds and all 3 of their timeouts. Vick 14 of 21. McCoy with 59 yards of offense. Vick out of the shotgun. Eagles keep it on the ground with McCoy. And he's tackled at the 29-yard line. And the Eagles use their first timeout. We are 25 seconds of game time away from the Visa halftime report with Kirk, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. Leslie Frazier replacing Brad Childress as Vikings head coach earlier this week. And how about the last couple of minutes in Atlanta? Aaron Rodgers throwing the game-tying touchdown pass to Jordy Nelson. And then the Falcons win it with a late field goal.
The poise by Matt Ryan this year. He did it again against Baltimore earlier this year. And so impressed with what Matt Ryan has done in his short career for the Atlanta Falcons. His home record, only one loss. That's unbelievable.
19-1 at the Georgia Dome. Second down and 4. Eagles with 2 timeouts remaining. Vick over the middle to Avant. Avant down at the 36, his 4th reception. And the Eagles will stop the clock once again using their 2nd timeout.
Chicago's going to be more than happy to let Michael Vick check the ball down in these situations. Obviously, with 19 seconds left, you can't let the big play happen. David Akers got a strong leg.
Yeah, but he's not going to hit anything.
He got the wind in his face.
Far away.
He's got the wind in his face going this way, Goose. Has he got a little bit of help from behind?
I think he's got a little bit of help, but not that much help. I don't think he can make an 80-yarder. Nah, 72, little long.
A little long?
Yeah, a little bit.
And that would be a first.
We need a hurricane behind him.
Just keep blowing, Goose. You're in the opposite end zone.
Yeah.
From the 36. Vick fires out of bounds. 14 seconds remaining in the half. 3 touchdown passes for Jay Cutler today on only 7 completions. Cutler is 7 for 10 with 3 touchdowns.
Just be efficient with it, and they're embracing that role. We talked about it earlier in the first half. You know, this team is built around their defense. Their defense is going to be the key to how this season unfolds. They have good special teams, and they have one of the best returners in the history of the game in Devin Hester. So as an offense, go out, be efficient, be effective on 3rd down, give yourself some opportunities. Just don't make the critical mistake.
Vick complete to Avant, heads for the sidelines, and is out of bounds at the 46 with 7 seconds remaining. There's Akers. Eagles still with the 1 timeout remaining.
Those safeties are still bailing out there, Darryl. If they can sneak in a 25-yarder right here, they still have 1 timeout. Maybe you can get a shot.
You've got, you can play the middle of the field because you've got that timeout left. You have enough time in the 7 seconds to get it down. I'm thinking, you know, what do you think, Goose? Around the 33, 34 is a legitimate shot?
Yeah, about 20 yards. Akers' season high is 49. His career long is 57. Vick has to get rid of it quickly, and then the Eagles need a timeout. But the time running down here as Vick throws, and the first half will come to an end. There is a flag. Flag at midfield.
He might have crossed the line of scrimmage before he released that ball, guys.
Illegal forward pass. Quarterback was beyond the line of scrimmage when he threw. Offensive foul, last play of the half. The half is over.
So the Eagles came so close to taking the lead, but Vick picked off for the first time this season. Bears capitalized. Cutler with 3 first-half touchdown passes, 2 to Earl Bennett. And Chicago takes a 21-13 lead over Philadelphia into the locker room at halftime here at Soldier Field.
They've done a great job. That defense is built not to give up the big play. So far, so good in the first half for Chicago's defense.
Bears lead by 8. The Visa halftime report is coming up next.
Sometimes, the first time is the best. It's the first ever American Country Awards.
I work hard.
The only country music award show where you vote for the winners. Hosted by Trace Atkins. Performances by Alan Jackson, Toby Keith, Reba McEntire, Blake Shelton, Keith Urban, Josh Turner, Rascal Flatts, and many more. With appearances by today's biggest stars. The best country out there is right here. The American Country Awards Live. Monday, December 6th on Fox.
Back in Chicago as we get set for the start of the second half. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/ NFL. Bears with an 8-point lead over the Eagles, and big plays have been the key for Chicago. 3 scoring drives. They only had the ball for 10.5 minutes in the first half, but 3 plays of 30 or more yards all led to a Bears touchdown.
Well, being very productive on their early downs. They're 0 for 3 on third down. They don't even need third down. They're converting on first and second downs with those big plays. So it's been a great game to watch. Really enjoyed this so far. I think it's everything we expected it to be. It's been played very well. Very few penalties. Chicago's doing a great job of corralling Michael Vick with their down 4. We'll have to see what adjustments were made during the course of the first half and into halftime. But I've been very, very happy to have been a part of this one. This has been fun to watch.
Devin Hester's back, guys. Returning this kickoff.
David Akers will get things started. And the second half in Chicago is underway. Taken at the goal line by Hester. Hester across the 30, still on his feet, the 40, and then he stumbles down as he crosses the 45, a 46-yard return by Hester.
You know, you can have a great return guy, but you've also got to have 10 other guys on that team with you to do a good job with their blocking. And he sets it up nice by kind of starting towards the middle to the left side of the field, then breaks right and picks up a lot of nice blocks. And Kirk Coleman did a good job of fighting to the outside to get him turned back inside, but the other blockers had pinned everybody from Philadelphia inside the hash.
Looks like he almost tripped up on one of his own players.
There's Bobby April right there, special teams coach, and he can't be happy with that one. I mean, it's dangerous. You've got to kick to him every once in a while and have trust and faith in your cover team.
So for the third time today, Bears start from across their 40-yard line as Cutler hands it off to Matt Forte. And Forte up to the 48-yard line, gain of 2. Eagles can't bring him down. Some extracurricular activity.
Olin Kreutz always has a couple extra things to say.
And you see right there, you know, pretty clean half. The one turnover, great deflection by Tommy Harris. Chris Harris intercepts that, but we're pretty even total yards. Philadelphia really doing a nice job. I was impressed with them offensively in the first half. We talked about how Chicago plays defense and that they would have to be methodical. You know, until that last drive by Chicago, they were almost 2-1 plays and time of possession.
Cutler on 2nd and 8, moving to his right. Now he lobs it up for Hester. Hester stayed in bounds and takes it down the sideline. There's a late flag after Hester was brought down by Nate Allen. Gain of 34 yards.
Well, you always talk about doing your job, and you're going to see here where Ernie Sims drops Devin Hester in coverage because he's going to come up and make a play on Jay Cutler. And then Jay Cutler makes a nice little lob throw over the top.
Horse collar tackle, number 29, half the distance to the goal, first down.
So tack on half the distance following the horse collar tackle by Allen as he brought down Hester from behind after a gain of 34. So that is the 4th play of 30 or more yards by the Bears on offense. Bears have gained 164 yards on those 4 plays we've been talking about.
Very surprising to see Chicago hitting this Philly defense with those big plays consistently throughout the game.
First and goal from the 9, off the play fake. Cutler to the end zone, and Greg Olsen has a touchdown. He took it away from Dimitri Patterson.
Dimitri Patterson's just a step late. He recognizes the drag on the bootleg coming. He tries to get back, but a little size advantage. Greg Olsen goes up, as you pointed out. Kenny takes it away, lands in bounds for the touchdown.
First catch today for Olsen, and Jay Cutler ties his career high with his 4th touchdown pass.
Ma'am, can you identify the other airline that charged you bag fees?
That's it.
Let's build something together. And by Select 55. The superior taste makes it Select. The 55 calories makes it the lightest beer in the world.
Back in Chicago on the Sunday after Thanksgiving. Another big play leads to a Bears touchdown. In this case, two big plays, both by Devin Hester. Kickoff return and then the reception of 34 yards. Here's Jarrett Calvin for the Eagles. Cuts to the outside. And is forced out of bounds after he crosses the 30.
Well, we always talk about football being a game of inches, and Demetri Patterson recognizes this play. He's trying to get back to make the interception. Jay Cutler gets it up high enough, and then a little bit of that size advantage with Greg Olsen working back to the ball. Very aggressive at the point of the catch. Good job. Now, you saw Greg Olsen roll out the back of the end zone, so you're thinking that, hey, did he get down in bounds? And Andy Reid was hoping the replay would show that he didn't, but he did.
So now the Eagles in a 15-point hole as Vick fires downfield. Brett Selleck, the intended receiver.
And this is where you've kind of played into the hands of this Bears defense, because it's going to be hard to get back in. You've got to stay methodical. They're not going to let these big throws down the field, and there's that one that's really going to be difficult today. Over the top of the linebacker, in front of the safety.
Second and 10 from the 31. Three wide receivers set. Vick slips, gets back up, down he goes. And he also lost the football. Recovered by his center, Mike McLean.
Gets back to plant, slips down on the ground. Now you're up and going. The ball's in one hand. There's the punch.
You talked about it earlier, Darryl, about keeping the feet underneath your body. Mike just gets his feet out from under him a little bit. And with the surface out there and not the right shoes, that's exactly what happens. See the ball coming out right there. Nice job by Anthony Adams.
Fourth Bears sack, third down at 18. And with the play clock winding down, did Andy Reid call timeout in time?
Timeout, Philadelphia.
He did.
This is their first charge timeout.
So when we come back, third and long for Vick and the Eagles. Welcome back to Chicago. Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa.
Goose, you didn't like that timeout call, huh?
Yeah, third and 19. I don't think Andy should have called that timeout. Got third and 24. I don't think there's much of a difference. Do you, Darryl?
No, I agree.
So you guys thought they should have taken the delay of game, saved the timeout, hand off to LaShawn McCoy, and he takes it out to the 35. So Andy calls a running play anyway, and the Eagles will punt.
Well, he may need that. Down 15 right now. Timeouts are more important than 5 yards at that point. If it was a third and 1 or a third and 2, maybe
then I could see it.
Yeah, we'll think about it there, but I agree with you, Goose.
So Rocca waiting back at his own 20-yard line.
Rocca needs to punt this ball away, too.
Hester back at the 25 for the Bears. Hester will let it bounce, and it takes an Eagles roll all the way down to the 12-yard line, where it's down by Riley Cooper, who gives Rasheed Davis a bit of a shove. Well, during this Thanksgiving weekend, the NFL promoting children to be active via the NFL Play 60 program. And that is former Bear wide receiver Marcus Robinson, now coaching a youth football team, the Algonquin Argonauts. And they are the Bears Play 60 ambassadors. They led the Bears out onto the field before the game and took part in a game during halftime against a group of mascots.
I like that pylon there at the end. That was nice.
You got to get your 60 minutes in, though, right, Goose?
Absolutely.
Especially after
60.
Thanksgiving.
At least 60.
I'm a little short this weekend.
All right, here's Matt Forte. There is a flag back at the 12-yard line.
Holding, offense, number 74. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
That's on the left guard, Chris Williams. I'm not so sure that you're short. You and our producer, Barry Landis, Darryl, walked about 5 miles from our hotel to the Eagles hotel last night.
I was a little bit short during the course of the week. I got a lot of making up to do, Kenny. I was enjoying myself Thursday with Thanksgiving dinner.
I don't know. That's a pretty good walk down Michigan Avenue.
I had a salad on Thursday.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Before I had all my turkey and lasagna and everything else.
Following the penalty, the give to Forte. And Forte stays on his feet across the 30 and finally tackled at the 34. Matt Forte gains 28 yards, another big play for Chicago.
And an opportunity for Philadelphia to kind of establish some field position. It's been all Bears with the start of these drives, and he has run so strong today. You see him shrug off that tackle up near the shoulder pads. But Mike Martz wanted to attack Philadelphia on the perimeter. He was going to challenge Jose Leo Hansen and Dimitri Patterson to tackle on the edges. Some of these big plays have come on those runs to the outside.
Forte had a 61-yard earlier, that one 28. Cutler over to his right, chased by Patterson. Stays in bounds, tiptoeing up the sidelines. And finally out of bounds at the 46 after picking up a Bears first down, a gain of 12.
His decision-making has been very, very good over the last 4 weeks. And one of the things that got Jay Cutler in trouble was his decisions that led to interceptions.
Check out those 5 big plays, accounting for 192 of the Bears' total yards.
And we're not even putting in some of the big returns by Devin Hester in special teams that's leading to great field position.
From the 46-yard line on first down, Taylor, and he is met in the backfield by Antonio Dixon. Loss of 4. And getting back to those big plays, as we take one more look at the terrific play by Dixon.
Another person unblocked there, Darryl. Antonio Dixon coming scot-free.
Yeah, I don't know how some of these guys are getting turned loose on the inside.
Wow. I'll tell you what, when Chicago blocks those guys up front, the 4 down linemen, the big plays just keep coming. When they leave somebody unblocked, they're finding themselves with tackles for a loss.
Now Cutler, guys, split out to the right. Earl Bennett takes the snap. Hands off to Forte, and he's across midfield into Eagles territory.
I don't understand the Wildcat. I haven't quite figured it out yet, Goose. You move the quarterback out, and to me, you're playing 10 against 11. I'm going to take that guy and get him in here.
Yeah, Jay has a nice speed off the ball. That was great.
I'm not really worried about that.
He didn't play 60 on that one.
No, he didn't. No.
Out for a leisurely stroll. 3rd down and 5. The football winds up in the hands of Forte, or was that a shovel pass?
I think it was a flip.
Cutler was surrounded by Eagles and somehow was able to get rid of it, and Forte gained 6.
Heads-up play by Jay Cutler. He is surrounded by the defense. They're bringing 5, maybe 6. Little shuffle pass right up front.
Wow.
Great job by Matt Forte, too, because he had to come across and pick up Ernie Sims on the blitz, and then a smart play to turn around and take a look back at his quarterback. Look at that by Jay Cutler.
Forte picked up the first down at the Eagles' 43. We'll be back.
Sponsored by Verizon 4G LTE. Rule the air on the most advanced 4G network in the world.
Welcome back with the Bears leading the Eagles 28-13. Coming up following this game, the OT. From our our studios in Los Angeles. Scores, highlights, interviews. Terrific day in the NFL. Great ending in Atlanta on Fox earlier. Falcons over the Packers. Cutler's pass broken up. Nice play by Patterson, Dimitri Patterson, diving to keep it out of the hands of Johnny Knox.
Really nice play by Dimitri Patterson. Right at the end of this, you look at the ground, he's got to make up on that shallow cross by Johnny Knox, and great hand-to-eye at the point of the catch.
This defense, though, Darryl, Dimitri Patterson, nice play on that one, but Asante Samuel makes this team better. This Eagle defense, and I think they're missing him a little today.
Samuel out, Ellis Hobbs out. This is Chester Taylor. Time for another game break. Here's Kurt.
AFC West leading Kansas City at NFC West leading Seattle. Matt Hasselbeck hooking up with his tight end. Chris Baker, the former Jet, 13-yard score. It's a 21-17 Kansas City lead in the third quarter. Kenny Moose and Goose.
Goose, when we headed off and you talked about Asante Samuel, I think the big thing there, too, is he's a risk taker. And this Philadelphia defense needs turnovers. They had 5 last week against the Giants. And you look at right there, both of their starting corners out. Asante with 7 interceptions up until this point this year.
Which leads the league. The catch is made by Earl Bennett. With Trevard Lindley all over him. Bennett gains 10. And a Bears first down.
And it's the trickle-down effect once you get into a nickel situation. Trevard Lindley, who's really only had 2 opportunities during the course of the season to play extended defensive snaps. He had a big interception against San Francisco late in the game. But other than that, he's been mainly special teams. He comes on the field in the nickel situations. Now, you're talking about your 2 starting corners out. And these guys have done well, but it's not the same defense we saw last week against the Giants.
From the 31, off the fake to Taylor. Cutler down back at the 34. Quentin Michael quickly into the backfield.
Quentin Michael sneaks up onto the line of scrimmage and comes right in on Jay Cutler, misses him, and then keeps going. Grabs his leg. You see him right here down at the bottom of your screen. He comes in, not sure who has the ball, makes a shot at it, but keeps coming and grabs the leg of Jay Cutler to get him down.
Ernie Sims is the injured Eagle with just over 6 minutes remaining in the third.
It's our most intense.
Eagles linebacker Ernie Sims injured on the last play. Second down and 13 for Chicago. 10th play of this drive started at their own 12-yard line, and then they were forced back to the 6 following a penalty. The slant is caught by Forte for a first down. Matt Forte takes it to the Eagles' 16, a 17-yard pass play.
Take Matt Forte, split him outside. He's a very good receiver. Runs a good slant route right there. Trevard Lindley playing way off. Jay Cutler a little bit happier on that throw than he was on the one a few plays ago.
Yes.
All of a sudden, Ernie Sims comes out. They go right after that area where he would be in. Challenge that guy that comes off the bench.
Smart by Mike Martz.
Absolutely.
On first down, here's Forte, who's run for over 100 yards today.
But here's what I like so far this afternoon, Tony, is you haven't gotten stubborn because you do have the 2 starting cornerbacks for Philadelphia's defense out. So you would think, hey, we've got an advantage when we're throwing the ball. But we've had this formula that has worked so well for us over the last month of the season. Continue to stay with it. They've run the ball with Matt Forte. They've stayed balanced this afternoon. They haven't tried to push something that's not there.
And also working that clock, running the ball.
Now, this has been an impressive drive right here.
Absolutely.
Second down and 4. Down to the 10-yard line is Forte. As we approach 4 minutes remaining, third quarter, Sean McDermott, Eagles defensive coordinator. The chess match with Mike Martz. Bears lead by 15.
Really, one of the matchups we didn't talk a whole lot about at the top. We talked about Bears defense against the Eagles offense. Tony mentioned special teams and Devin Hester. But really, the one that's really tilted the tide right now is this Bears offense against the Philly defense. Chicago's offense has been outstanding this afternoon. Big plays, and here a methodical drive to just chew up this clock.
Cutler with 4 touchdown passes today. 3rd and 2. Catch is made by Manu Maliuna. And he takes it down inside the 5-yard line and picks up a Bears first down. 3rd catch of the season for Brandon Manu Maliuna.
Here comes the big guy, the tight end, playing that fullback position. A little flashlight there. You see he gets Moses Foku to brace for the hit. Falls on the ground. Matt Forte doesn't even have to block him. That allows Jay Cutler. He's got a clear lane out to Brandon Manu Maliuna out in the flat.
3 wide receivers set. 1st and goal from the Eagles 4. Taylor in the backfield. And the handoff to Chester Taylor, former Viking and Raven. And he is forced back.
Looks like Philadelphia wanted it offsides by the Chicago Bears offense, but they got reset. How about that time of possession right there, guys?
Oh, this has been just an unbelievable drive, Tony.
Eagles had the huge edge in the first half, over 19 minutes to 10 and a half. This will be the 15th play of the drive, longest drive of the season for Lovie Smith's Bears. And lining up in the backfield is Manu Maliuna along with Taylor. This is Taylor once again. Takes it up the middle.
Chester Taylor, the ball carrier.
So the Bears now facing 3rd and goal from the 5.
Bringing Devin Hester in this situation.
If you're bringing Devin Hester in, you better block him because they're going to try and get the ball to him some way. That's a long drive for this defense of the Philadelphia Eagles. Those guys got to be sucking wind. It is not easy.
Artie Sims back in, 16th play of the drive.
Devin Hester and Trevard Lindley out here. Trevard Lindley in there as the nickelback.
Cutler on 3rd and goal. Looking end zone, now he throws. Johnny Knox, the intended receiver, and the Bears will send out the field goal unit.
Kind of a double move. It's going to be a slant and then back out to the corner. Good coverage by Trevard Lindley. Kind of a mirrored route, kind of the same thing on the other side. Covered very well by Philadelphia.
So Robbie Gould out to attempt a 23-yard field goal. The snap by Patrick Mattingly. The kick by Gould is good. Mattingly, the long snapper, first Bear in history to reach 200 career games. Bears extend their lead. Of his friends.
Making some new friends down there on the sidelines. Here comes a guy with some good advice from Goose.
You think it's easy being down here on the sideline, don't you now?
It has its challenges, like everything else, I imagine.
Yeah, it does. I'm sure you have a couple of these guys up in your booth, too. Nice, great.
They're all lining up for a team photo.
What am I supposed to do here, Dow?
I have no idea, Goose. play the guitar.
Can't beat him, join him.
We'll see you next week at the Meadowlands, Goose. Warren Calvin on the return. Spins across the 30, and then we're wrapped up. Well, NASCAR season may be over, but Fox is already revving up for another exciting year. It all begins this February with the running of the Great American Race live from Daytona International Speedway. It's the Daytona 500 this February only on Fox. How about Jimmy Johnson? The only driver to win 5 consecutive championships in the Sprint Cup Series. What car does he drive, Darryl?
48.
Yep, you got it.
At That's an amazing accomplishment.
5 in a row. Vick handing off to LaShawn McCoy. McCoy out to the 36-yard line. Adonijay, the tackle, gain of 5. Turning point in this game, Goose, was the interception thrown by Vick. Eagles trailed by 1. They were going in on the Bears' 4-yard line.
Yeah, Tommy Harris, I'll tell you what, Tommy Harris comes through the line of scrimmage right here, gets his hand up, tips the ball, and that's the first interception from Michael Vick this year, which was a big one and a turning point, like you mentioned, Kenny, in this game.
Bears have scored 17 unanswered points since that time. Jeremy Maclin down to the Bears' 39-yard line.
And remember, this is an element that's built into this Philadelphia offense throughout their playbook is the big play down the field. And they've just got to have a sense of urgency as they work through this. We're winding down here towards the end of the third quarter. But what I'd like to see is you can't get into the huddle anymore at this stage. There's got to be an up-tempo. You've got to get up to the line of scrimmage and have that ability to call your plays to use as less clock as you possibly can.
Ball comes loose on the attempted handoff from Vick to McCoy. Eagles hang on to the football on the recovery by Avant. Third quarter comes to an end in Chicago with the first place Bears leading the first place Eagles. Fox NFL Sunday will return.
$1 million. 7 questions. Excitement.
Chicago news and weather straight to your phone. Yeah, there's an app for that.
We start the fourth quarter in Chicago. Kenny Albert, Daryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa, Larry Landis, our producer, our director Michael Frank. With the Bears leading the Eagles 31-13. Second down and 12. Off the play fake to McCoy. Vick fires downfield. And that pass was in the vicinity of Jeremy Maclin.
Yeah, but Jeremy Maclin has to continue through on that route. He tried to slow down into a window on the front side of Brian Urlacher, and Michael Vick wanted him to continue through. Watch right here, he's going to gear it down in that window. You see as those linebackers drop, there's Pizzatino Isamoa and Brian Urlacher dropping into that zone coverage. You don't want to run through the zone, but you've got to be in sync on which window you're going to hold up into.
Now third down and 12. Eagles must get to the 30 for a first down. Vick steps up, takes off, and is close. Tackled by Julius Peppers.
That's amazing.
Right around the 30-yard line.
Now there's an example of what, whether you talk to Lovie Smith, Rod Marinelli, Brian Urlacher, of what Julius Peppers means to this defense. There's the knee down. The ball is about a yard short. If Lovie Smith wanted to challenge this.
Generous spot. Looked like Vick's knee was down at the 31. Here come the chains.
But that is what Julius Peppers has brought to this defense. I mean, the hustle. But I mean, you have to account for him, so other people are going to have success in their pass rush because you're so worried about Julius Peppers. But he's been phenomenal against the run. There's a great example of his hustle right there.
Fourth and inches. Andy Reid will leave his offense on the field. It would be a 48-yard field goal attempt from this spot, but the Eagles will go for it. Fourth and inches.
I don't think it could just be a quarterback sneak. This is a great opportunity for an offense to fake that quarterback sneak and get the ball downfield to one of those receivers that are spread out.
No quarterback sneak. Vick spins and picks up a first down. Lance Briggs thought he had him in the backfield, but Vick dives forward, and the Eagles get a new set of downs.
A lot of people, Kenny, think they have Michael Vick when he's in his grasp. And don't be fooled. Just because you're touching him doesn't mean that you got him tackled. See that spin right there? Michael dives ahead. Here it is in slow motion. Spin move, boom, upfield for the first.
And look who's coming. Another step sooner. Brian Urlacher might have been there in time to make that a close one.
That's right.
From the 29 on first down, Vick sets up the screen to McCoy inside the 20, the 10, And knocked out of bounds at the 8-yard line.
I don't think anybody has a better screen game in the NFL than the Philadelphia Eagles, and a lot of it has to do with their personnel. They use everybody, but watch this. This is such a great sell. But the offensive linemen, watch the 3 big guys out in front. They're so effective downfield. Very rarely do they get out in space and miss.
Saw them defensive linemen also from the Bears chasing down. That's that hustle you talked about earlier, Darryl.
McCoy picked up 21. First and goal from the 8. Here's McCoy with the fullback Schmidt leading the way. And McCoy gains 2 down to the Bears' 6-yard line.
And again, a sense of urgency right now. You're down 18. You know, you don't have to be in 2-minute mode, but you've got to find that happy medium right now. Rod Marinelli more than happy if you're going to keep huddling up here.
Quarterback draw area, Darryl. Talked about it earlier.
Empty backfield, 3 receivers to the right. Vick had another pass deflected at the line.
This is probably the 3rd or 4th time we've seen this today, and I'm sure it's part of the game plan, but that's Julius Peppers. And
there's no white shirt on him at all.
And by design, Tony, I mean, I just don't know if you can get the ball out quick enough and be effective. Yep.
10th play of the drive for the Eagles. 3rd and goal. Vick swings it out. Clay Harbor taken down at the 2-yard line by Charles Tillman.
That's an interesting formation. Andy Reid and Marty Mornhinweg, they will make you think that was a 2 tight end backfield with Brent Selleck at the fullback and Clay Harbor at the tailback.
So the Eagles will send out the field goal unit to try and make this a 2-possession game. Akers is 2 for 2. This will be a 22-yard attempt from the left hash. Rocket places it down, and Akers' kick is good. So Akers 3 for 3. Bears lead by 15.
It's a 403 horsepower.
The Bears know that the Green Bay Packers lost today. A win by the Bears, and they would have a 1-game lead. Plus, they beat Green Bay in their first meeting of the season. On the other side, the Philadelphia Eagles, 7-3. New York Giants, 7-4, following their win today over Jacksonville. Eagles beat the Giants last week, and they will meet again December 19th.
Goose, they're lining up onside kick. Do you agree with this right here?
I don't agree with this. I'll tell you what, they're going to lose a guy on the outside too because the wind's blowing so hard, the ball's not staying up.
But you bring him in from the opposite side. You can bring him in from the other side and hold it. But yeah, you just gave up a 17-play, 10-minute and 5-second drive. But at 11:51 right now, with a 2-possession game, I hope this is a bluff. Right now, I mean, it's going to be hard for David Akers to be effective kicking this onside to the left with the holder there.
Yeah, it is a fake down. Instead, he kicks it downfield, and it's taken at the 2 by Danielle Manning. Another big return. There is a flag as Manning is finally tackled by Riley Cooper at the Eagles' 46-yard line. The flag's back at the 32.
Well, they got lucky there was a penalty. They might as well have tried the onside kick. Danielle Manning ran it back so far.
Wow. 51-yard return.
During the return, holding, 53, receiving team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's on Nick Roach.
Right in the middle of your screen right there against Moses Foku. If he goes to the ground, you're going to get a flag. Starting inside your own 20. Very, very lucky.
Jay Cutler, 13 of 18 with 4 touchdown passes today for the Chicago Bears. As he hands it off on first down. And Forte is wrapped up, tackled by Ernie Sims with 11 and a half remaining. The OT coming up with Kurt, Terry, Jimmy, Howie, and Michael as they will wrap up the day. Scores and highlights, interviews as well. The OT coming up following the Eagles and the Bears. Second and 10, Olsen in motion. Cutler to the air on second down. The catch is made by Johnny Knox. First down and more. Across midfield. Ball's out. He loses the football. Bears recovered. 34 yards. That is the 5th play for the Bears offense of at least 30 yards today.
And look how far the ball is thrown down the field. This is just a simple play. It's a slant that goes behind a flat route. It's a good catch and run by Johnny Knox, but again, just the depth in the secondary for Philadelphia has been an issue today.
Javard Lindley, he slipped a little bit too on the coverage. Once again, that footing comes into play here.
And then it was Greg Olsen on the recovery.
Great hustle by Greg Olsen.
Timeout called by the Bears. 10:05 remaining in the 4th.
From the
big day for the Chicago Bears. They've scored a season-high 31 points. Lead the Philadelphia Eagles 31-16.
Maybe a little bit of a pattern here. You look at Jay Cutler, how effective he has been to his right side throwing the football. Only 2 for 4 to the left.
Cutler handing it off to Forte. And he's tackled at the 46-yard line.
And guess who would normally be playing the left defensive corner, which is Jay Cutler's right side, is Asante Samuel. And Tony talked about this earlier in the game. He has been missed today. His coverage skills, he studies so much. He's going to jump things. And Jay Cutler's one of those guys that I think that Asante Samuel probably could have baited into some bad throws today. And with him not being there, now all of a sudden you lose that ability to take the ball away.
Yeah, those timing throws, they're the ones he jumps, man. Darryl.
Injured in the game Sunday night against the Giants.
Whatever, I'll answer to anything, Goose. Just give me a shout.
Yeah, whatever. Goose has been flustered by the mascots. On 2nd and 9, we end around to Hester. And he runs right into the arms of Moses Foku.
All right, Goose, we've got a teaching tool. You and I always, we coach our son's team, and we are always talking about contain. Somebody better contain Olin Kreutz right now.
Yeah, he was trying to get at Ernie Sims.
No flag at all, huh?
But I want you to watch Dimitri Patterson right here as this comes around. Watch him fight to get back outside. That's contain. You don't have to make the play, but if you can turn it back to your teammates who are going to be coming from the inside out. So Dimitri Patterson doesn't make the play, but his hustle to get outside is the difference. Hey, Olin, I mean, he took on like 3 guys there.
Goose, you would have been right in the middle of that, right?
Either that or I would have waited a couple plays.
That was a long way to run, Goose, right? That's a long way to run.
3rd down at 9. Cutler was under pressure, gets rid of it. Forte, the intended receiver. Cutler wanted a flag.
He floated this one up into the middle of the field. I know he wants a call right here, but he got lucky. He's got pressure right in his face. He's got to flood it. There's the contact that they want with Ernie Sims on Matt Forte. They want illegal contact or PI.
And now a late flag is thrown after the punting unit had come out from the Chicago sideline.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, offense, number 6. 15-yard penalty. Fourth down.
Well, you saw that big scuffle earlier. There was no flags. Jay Cutler decided, let me go see if I can push him a little bit more. But that didn't work. That flag came out pretty quick.
Yeah, you know what? I think he got away with the first one, but when he stayed on with it, you're going to get a flag with that one. He needs to just get his composure right now.
So the unsportsmanlike conduct costing the Bears 15 yards. Maynard's punt taken at the 26. And then Deshaun Jackson slips back at the 23-yard line. Jay Cutler fired up.
Back to be one of the most competitive people on the field, but up into a limit. And Jay Cutler has to understand that he crossed that line on that play, and he can't do it. He did it last year, too. He had an unsportsmanlike last year in a similar situation. You've got to be able to maintain your composure. You are sitting at 14 for 20 for 247 and 4 touchdowns. All right, you can argue that call, but do it in the appropriate way.
So now it's Michael Vick and the Eagles offense back out on the field. Vick under pressure once again, and his pass is short, intended for Brent Selleck.
And this has really been the key to the game all afternoon, is the ability for Chicago to get pressure. Now they're adding some people to the mix. Lance Briggs and Brian Urlacher coming that time. Hard to believe that right near the end of the first half, Philadelphia was driving for a touchdown that would have put them up 20-14. That interception by Chris Harris just spun this game completely around.
That was the turning point. Now Vick, a pump fake, looking downfield, can't find anyone. Now he throws, and the catch is made by Avant, who breaks free. And Jason Avant picks up a first down up to the 46-yard line. He gains 22.
Well, I know that Michael Vick has a strong arm, but when he starts to scramble, somebody's got to come back and help him. A lot of these guys just kept running straight down the field. You know, at some point, if you're deep, you got to work back. If you're shallow, you can go deep. Jason Avant does a nice job of kind of working back right here, sees that he's in trouble, cuts it off, and works back towards the sideline.
Midway through the fourth quarter, Bears lead by 15. Vick out of the shotgun on first down. Vick steps up. There's a penalty marker down as Vick slides to the 44-yard line, close to an Eagles first down.
You must be taking lessons from Eli Manning on how to slide, Goose.
Touche.
Well, he watched from the opposite sideline last Sunday night during that win over the Giants.
To the face, defense, number 95. 5 yards. They added to the end of the run. First down.
That's Anthony Adams.
I mean, as one of the most athletic guys on the field, you would expect more style when he slides.
There he is on the nose, pushing the helmet up. Todd Herman.
And the funny thing about it, Goose, is he doesn't like to slide feet first. And you can see him trying to decide, should I go feet first? No, I usually go head first. And that was one of the uglier slides I've seen in the NFL this season.
He doesn't like to slide, period. From the 39, Vick to Riley Cooper. Another Eagles first down, 29-yard pass play.
All right, Goose, here's some props for your pit guy. LaShawn McCoy does an outstanding job in pass protection. Brian Urlacher, face in the numbers, stones him, stops him, and pushes him back. This is excellent.
Hands inside, hips low.
You don't see that happen very often.
That was the Eagles' longest play of the game. 29 yards from Vick to Cooper. Empty backfield. First and goal from the 10 to the end zone. Deshaun Jackson, the intended receiver.
I think Deshaun Jackson felt Major Wright coming at him. Watch him in right here on a little bit of a slant.
You may have been thinking about that play in the game against Atlanta.
Yeah.
Head-to-head collision with Dante Robinson.
Yeah, get that catch, get down.
Second and goal. screen. McCoy. Nowhere to go. Tackled back at the 19-yard line.
They sniffed it out perfectly. Sniffed it out. You're exactly right, Kenny. Tell you what, them defensive linemen felt McCoy sliding out to the left side. They were all over. Anthony Adams does a great job, and then Julius Peppers comes in. Donajay, that whole defensive line wanted a piece of that one.
Yeah, that's a credit to Rod Marinelli, Goose. The old defensive line coach down in Tampa Bay, now the defensive coordinator. That's the big difference in Chicago this year is the pursuit of that D-line.
Now chased by Peppers. Vick on 3rd and goal, taken down by Julius Peppers from behind.
That's exactly what you got to do right there. Julius Peppers knows Michael Vick starting to get away. He dives, tries to sweep at the feet, and catches one and gets him down. See him right there? Sell out. Just gets the back heel of Mike Vick to get him down.
Now it's 4th and goal from the 18. Would you go for the end zone here as opposed to sending out the field goal unit?
I would check my chart. I couldn't make that decision right now, Kenny. I mean, it's tough. 18-yard shot into the end zone. Your chances. Now you're forced into an onside kick situation, but at least that gives you an opportunity for points. I like it better than a fourth and goal from the 18.
Eagles still need 2 scores. Trailing by 12 with 4:47 remaining. Well, Fox Sports is proud to support St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, where they are doing wonderful work each and every day to help kids battle cancer. Please join us in the fight and donate now at stjude.org/Fox Sports. 4:47 left to play, 12-point lead for the Bears, with all the talk about Michael Vick and the Eagles offense. Coming into this game, they had averaged 37 over the last 3 games. Big day for Jay Cutler and the Bears offense, and their defense has been great as well.
It's been a huge day for that offense of the Chicago Bears, and in the first half it was big plays, but really the thing that impressed me the most here was the 3rd quarter drive. 17 plays, 10:05, really kind of put Philadelphia in a very difficult position where they find themselves at right now. You had to take that field goal at 4th and goal from the 18. I think you have to take the points, but now you definitely have to go onside kick. You're sitting still at a 2-possession game, so you've got to get those points. It can change the dynamic if you get this kick right here. But again, it was that Bears defense, that screenplay, that has been such a huge part of Philadelphia's offense throughout the season. And here again this afternoon, Chicago's defense turned it into a negative play.
Akers kicks it deep. Taken at the 4 by Hester. Cuts to the outside, forced out of bounds. So if the Eagles go for it on 4th and goal from the 18 and do not score, it's a 15-point game. You need 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion. After that field goal, you still need 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's why I felt you had to go on sides there by kicking it deep. I don't know what you're accomplishing. And you can see Philadelphia's got 2. And it goes back to what Tony talked about on that 3rd and 19 when they had trouble getting the play into the huddle and they were going to lose. They were going to get a 5-yard delay game penalty. They took the timeout there. 3rd and 19, 3rd and 24. What's the difference? Now you need that 3rd timeout at this stage of the game.
And the Eagles still need to score 2 touchdowns as they trail by 12. Forte bottled up. And the Eagles, with 4:35 remaining, will use their 2nd timeout. They have just 1 remaining.
Timeout, Philadelphia. This is their 2nd charge. The 30 seconds.
31-19 lead for the Bears as they look to win their 4th consecutive game. Fox's football coverage doesn't end when the games are over. Stick around for the OT with Kurt, Terry, Howie, Jimmy, and Michael. We'll bring you exclusive interviews, extended highlights, and a look ahead to next week's action. America's #1 post-game show, the OT, presented by Lowe's, coming up after the game only on Fox. As we've been mentioning throughout the game, Green Bay lost in Atlanta today. So Lovie Smith's Bears with a win would be all alone in first place in the NFC North. Jay Cutler matching his career high with 4 touchdown passes today. Threw 4 touchdowns on his first 9 completions. Here's Forte again. Not much, gains a yard. And the Eagles will use their final timeout with 4.5 remaining. And the Bears facing a 3rd down and long.
And remember that critical turn of events at the end of the first half, the deflection by Tommy Harris. Chris Harris gets the interception. Philadelphia is about ready to take the lead at 20-14. It ends up being 21-13 going in at halftime, Chicago. And then since that time, that's the culmination of that 17-play, 10-minute and 5-second drive by this Bears offense. But they have hit big plays. The most impressive thing to me with Chicago today offensively has been the 113 yards rushing by Matt Forte. Philadelphia's defense had been outstanding. Now we know they have injuries in the secondary, but you have to take your hats off to Chicago in that running game today.
The Eagles had not allowed a 100-yard rusher all season. Cutler's pass deflected by Joselio Hansen. So the Eagles use both timeouts, and now we'll get the ball back with 4:26 on the clock.
And that's an interesting play call there, you know. You stop the clock. You know, Philadelphia had to use that one early in the half. They only had 2 here to burn. You know, Joselio Hansen, you know, one more step, and he's got a pick 6 right there. That was a sketchy call right there, in my opinion. I would have, you know, run a screen, you know, something that keeps that clock going.
Now remember, with no timeouts, Eagles cannot challenge a play over the next 2.5 minutes. Before we hit the 2-minute warning, fair catch called for by Deshaun Jackson at the 32. So Michael Vick and the Eagles offense back out with 4:18 on the clock.
Well, the whole thing today has been the pressure that Chicago has been able to get with just their down 4. They have mixed in a blitz from time to time, but it's been Matt Toina, Julius Peppers, Anthony Adams, Israel Adonijah. Those 4 guys have had an outstanding afternoon. Throw in Henry Melton, Tommy Harris, Marcus Harrison, that whole defensive line in that rotation.
The Eagles have faced terrific defensive units the last 2 weeks. Giants and now the Bears. Pass is caught by Avant. Takes it out to the 39-yard line for a gain of 7. Eagles have not lost a game this season in which Vick started and finished 5-0. His only loss as a starter against Washington when he was knocked out with the rib injury. Second down, complete to McCoy. Picks up a first down out to the 44-yard line.
Again, but you're playing into the hands of Chicago right now. The way that this defense is built, they're not going to allow you to get over the top. They're going to force you to throw the ball underneath. They're going to use the athleticism of their linebackers moving forward, and then the hustle and pursuit of that D-line chasing the ball.
And those safeties are still playing 20 yards deep, Darryl.
Vick dumps it off. McCoy tackled by Briggs across midfield at the Bears' 49, gain of 7. As you see on our Fox box, upper left, Eagles with no timeouts remaining.
They're at 22 yards right now, Goose, the safeties, and they're in a back pedal at the snap.
2nd and 3 over the top to Avant to the Chicago 43, and Eagles first down.
There's those safeties back here. I mean, look at these guys, how deep they are. Not letting anything go over the top of them for that big play.
Vick on first down, sidearm to McCoy. Another Eagles first down to the Chicago 30.
They're going to try your patience. They're going to see if you really can come out here and be methodical moving the ball down the field.
Vick will clock it with 2:27 remaining.
It's been everything that we thought it was going to be. This defense has played outstanding. And again, we talked about this in the beginning of the game, the perception of the Chicago Bears, I think, from a national level, is hey, I remember that game against the Giants. Didn't they get sacked like 9 times in the first half? And God, they look terrible. And the fact that, here they are 7-3 with the loss to Green Bay today. They are on top of the NFC North. They played outstanding today against one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL.
Eagles just get the snap away. Vick backpedaling. Now he fires downfield. There's a flag. Riley Cooper, the intended receiver. Penalty marker at the 9-yard line. It's against the Eagles.
Interference, offense, number 14. 10-yard penalty, second down.
Wow, I thought it was going to be more towards the end of the play. That happened early, Goose. I don't know. That was kind of on the release.
So Riley Cooper, flagged for offensive pass interference, forces the Eagles back to the 41-yard line, second down and 20. Jackson split to the left, Macklin to the right, Avant in the slot. Vick over the top, complete to Selleck at the 30-yard line. Eagles out of timeouts as they will try and get a play off before the 2-minute warning, but are unable to. So the Bears with a 12-point lead, 2 minutes remaining. Eagles on the Chicago 30.
But I tell you, he really deserves it. Brian Urlacher, just a cornerstone for this defense. Now the all-time leading tackler in the history of a very, very proud franchise. He's had a fantastic career, and he's having a great year. I mean, this is one of the best years he's had. He really impacts every week what people are trying to do in the middle of the field, throwing the football.
Urlacher with 10 tackles today. Third down and 9 from the Bears' 30. And Vick's pass is too high, intended for McCoy. So the Eagles now facing a 4th down and 9 with 1:54 remaining.
I think, Goose, you just keep bringing the 4 you brought the whole time, drop me, you throw a little change up here on a big 4th down.
I don't know, man. It's been working. Stick with what it works. Looks like they're just going to bring the 4 down lineman.
Here's Vick on 4th and 9, a pump fake. Now he throws, looking for Selleck, who makes the catch for an Eagles touchdown.
How did he get
in the middle of 4 defenders? Wow!
I was waiting for somebody with the Chicago Bears to come out with the ball.
Me too.
Little stutter go, gets over the top, but you got plenty of help. That is an amazing throw, and what great concentration by Brent Selleck, who's had some trouble with drops this year.
A tremendous catch by Selleck. His 3rd touchdown reception of the season. Here's David Akers for the point after. With 1:48 remaining, the Eagles have pulled to within 5.
Well, I know we saw 2 fake onside kicks, but I bet you're going to see one here for real, Darryl.
Look at the little stutter go. Look at what you're seeing from his perspective. I'm going to fit it. I'm going to fit it right into that little 1 foot by 1 foot box.
Unbelievable. Nobody gets their head back around. Brian Urlacher gets his hands up, but
great concentration by Brent Selleck. Look at Chris Harris coming across, getting his hand on the ball. That's a great job by Brent Selleck. What a throw.
He still might have that S underneath that jersey there, Kenny.
Well, for Michael Vick, his 2nd touchdown pass today, Goose. And he has thrown for over 300 yards. 333 to be exact. So the Eagles still have life, trailing by 5 as they will set up for an onside kick. The OT coming up from our studios in Los Angeles. with Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. They'll have scores and highlights, interviews. David Akers, terrific percentage in his career on onside kicks.
Yeah, but the key right now, we saw it last time, is a win. You can see it on the official slacks right there. Can he get this ball to stay up on his own? If he can, then he can go either side. Sometimes you'll see the overload, and then you'll bring it back the other direction. If he can't do that, and there's your first try, if you have to put the ball on the tee and hold it, now you define where you're going to go with that ball, because he can't adjust his angle and kick it to his right with the ball being held here. So that's a huge advantage for Chicago. In my opinion, this ball has to go to the right side of the field. You can't pull it back into this area and try and trick Chicago.
Yeah, that wind is going from his right to left, Al, so it should push the ball a little bit.
Zavraka, the holder. The onside kick is right into the arms of Johnny Knox.
I don't think the guys in the front line ever get enough credit on an onside kick. What are we saying here?
Knox may not have been touched by an Eagle, and he put the ball down on the ground. Wow.
Perfectly executed by David Akers. Drive it into the turf. Get it up high. Beyond 10 yards. There's Johnny Knox. Clean catch.
Ball gets knocked away.
He wasn't touched. He gets up. This will go.
It has been ruled Bears football.
Well, this will go to the booth for review. I would be amazed if he didn't get touched in that pile before he came up with the ball. No touch. It looked like I got a touch.
Receiver gave himself up. It's Chicago's ball. Please reset the clock to 1:47. Thank you.
Andy Reid does not agree.
They're not even going to take a look at it.
So the Bears will be able to run out the clock. Eagles out of timeouts as Cutler takes a knee. Jay Cutler with 4 touchdown passes today, tying his career high, as the Bears are going to win their 4th in a row and maintain first place all alone in the NFC North.
Gutty effort by Michael Vick. Hanging in there to the last minute. A great throw to Brent Selleck on that last one. Keeps him alive with the potential for that onside kick. Executed well by David Akers. Johnny Knox makes the catch.
A scrum after Cutler takes a knee.
And you heard the official say at the end of that onside kick that the returner gave himself up. Now, anybody in possession of the ball on the ground can give themselves up, but there was also discussions that he was touched. It looked as though we saw somebody that gave him a touch, and probably the reason that it never went to booth review.
There's no foul on the play.
That situation is not reviewable under the rules.
It's been a physical game throughout. A number of skirmishes after plays. And the Chicago Bears make a big statement. Lovie Smith told us on Friday we are not apologizing for our record. This will be their second victory over a team with a winning record. And they will celebrate here in Chicago. Bears have won 4 in a row. Eagles' 3-game win streak comes to an end as the Bears defeat the Eagles by the score of 31-26. The OT coming up in just a couple of minutes. Big day of football on Fox. The key play, the interception thrown by Michael Vick, first of the season, towards the end of the second quarter. Eagles have the ball on the 4-yard line. Harris with the interception. Bears never looked back. Bears win it by 5. We'll return to Chicago after these messages.
30 or more yards. Michael Vick threw his first interception of the season. Chris Harris picked him off in the end zone. That was a huge turning point. Forte goes over the century mark. First player to go over 100 yards against the Eagles this season, 117 yards. The Bears win their 4th straight. They improved to 8-3 on the year. Plus, the Packers lost at Atlanta. So the Bears are all alone in first place in the NFC North. Welcome to U.S. Cellular Bears Postgame Live. I am Pat Boyle, joined as always by two-time Super Bowl champ Howard Griffith, former Bears quarterback and Super Bowl winner Jim Miller, and our lead blocker Dan Jiggets. For those of you watching the North Carolina Hoops game, we'll let you know how that one ends up in just a bit. Guys, I understand the Bears' strength of schedule is last, and I know the Eagles were without 2 of their starting corners, but this is a quality win. So I ask you, are you a Bears believer? Are they one of the best teams in the NFC, Mr. Jiggets?
Raise your glasses.
The Kool-Aid says yes.
The Kool-Aid says yes. Hey, look, you know what? Everybody was complaining about this. They're looking for this, they're looking for that. You know, they haven't played a team that did this. They hadn't played a team that... Hey, the Philadelphia Eagles come in. Everybody's saying that this is the best team in the NFC coming in. I know you got the Atlanta Falcons flying around out there, but everybody said an Eagle beats a Falcon every time, right? So they come in, and the Bears give them a beating. So what else are you supposed to expect? What else are you supposed to say? Maybe now everybody will accept the fact that these guys may go on to play late into the postseason.
Jim, are they one of the best in the NFC?
I believe that they're one of the best in the NFC. I thought today they executed their game plan phenomenally. You don't give up big plays defensively. I mean, this was the hottest offense in the NFL. You look at the Michael Vick-led Philadelphia Eagles. I thought the Bears executed their game plan tremendously. You get the points early from the offense, and then not that you need to coast, but I just think defensively they did enough to win the game. Obviously, giving up that late touchdown looks a little cheap, but I'll tell you what, the Bears are legit. So I think Jiggs is right. He needs to take another sip of that stuff.
They're certainly trending upwards, Howard. Are you a believer?
I am a believer.
You are.
And really, when you start to look at what this team has been able to do, they've continued to get better, particularly on the offensive side of the football. And that's where a lot of the questions were. Yes, they had some issues with some blitz pickups today with the offensive line, but they go back to the drawing board, they go to the sidelines, they regroup, they come up with a protection that are able to allow their quarterback to throw the ball vertically down the field. This team is legit. They get it done in all phases of the game. And when you have a team that's playing this well in 3 phases, they're going to be tough to beat.
Not to ruin the Kool-Aid buzz, did they get the onside kick call on Knox? Did they get that right?
Oh yeah, they got it right.
Yeah, they got it right. Of course they did.
You know, you look at it this way though. You know, all of those things that we talked about. You talk about why a team wins, and once you find that formula and it starts working for you. People were questioning whether or not the Bears should leave that whole run philosophy going into this game because of what was going on in the secondary of Philadelphia with you know, guys, Asante Samuels being out and all the rest of that. But you stay true to what you do, and then within that, you take advantage of opportunities when they come your way. And that's exactly what they did. You got to stay true to all of that. Though.
We invite you to get interactive with the show. Go to csnchicago.com, click on the Bears postgame live icon. You can submit a question or a comment. Some of those comments are appearing at the bottom of our screen right about now. D has chimed in from Naperville. Do you think the Bears will finally get the respect they deserve as Super Bowl contenders? You think so, Howard?
Well, I think it's going to be a process because remember, anytime you have the questions that the Bears had coming into the season, along with Martz, along with Cutler, people are going to continue to look for reasons of why this team is not where they need to be or not a legitimate Super Bowl contender. But each week, people put roadblocks up, and the team finds a way to knock them over and get through them. That's the mark of a team that's continuing to move forward.
Time now for our McDonald's Angus Third Pounder Player of the Game. Each week, we want you to vote on the Bears Player of the Game. Just log on to csnchicago.com. Go to the Bears page to cast your vote. Got certainly a lot of choices, a lot of people to pick from this week. Jay Cutler makes our list. Earl Bennett with his 2 touchdowns, 56 receiving yards. He's on there. Devin Hester with 3 catches for 86 yards. Great job in the return game. And Julius Peppers getting it done up front as the Bears front four did a nice job today against the Eagles and Michael Vick. Bears Postgame Live is brought to you in part by McDonald's of Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana. We'll have the results of our McDonald's Angus Third Pounder Player of the Game tonight at 10:30 on Sportsnet Central Sunday Slam. But we get the party going, as always, with
our Xfinity opening kickoff. And for that, our lead blocker, Dan Jiggins.
Again, I'll go back to the point I was making before, and that is stay true to what you're doing when it's working for you. You found that formula that works for you. We always talked about the Bears' formula for success. Good, strong, solid defense, taking the football away, play excellent special teams, run the football and throw the football effectively off play action. And when you get the opportunities to strike and make a big play, you do. And they had a bunch of big plays today on the offensive side. Yeah, you're going to fall back sometimes and only gain a yard or so or whatever in the run game. But sooner or later, that stuff starts to pile up, and it certainly did on a good Philadelphia defense.
When I look at the Bears, I say right now, they're close to playing the perfect game. They gave up a late score in this ball game. That needs to be corrected, and they got to get the first down in their 4-minute offense. Wouldn't even put their defense back there. So to me, they're executing their game plan, and this, Pat, is why I say they are the best in the NFC. They out-effort and they out-hustle every other team in the National Football League. At least from a defensive standpoint, that's what I see in the Bears.
I think when you really look at this team, that it's really about the front four, really controlling the game. And understand this, so much was made about what Michael Vick was doing in the pocket, holding onto the football, wanting to look downfield, wanting to be a passer before a runner. The Chicago Bears today used their front four to control him. They were able to play coverage in the secondary. Yes, they had some success with some underneath routes, but it was because of what they were able to do up front, really controlling the line of scrimmage with 4 players, not having the blitz, really what dictated the reason that they
and
won
controlling
this game.
Philly's run game, too. Yeah. Something went unsaid basically going into this game, basically here, was a talk about LaShawn McCoy and what he brought to the table. When you look at Philly's numbers, he's responsible for a significant number of big runs for them and production. And really, the Bears defense shut him down at 50-some yards today, I believe, and that was it for him. So you add all that in, and just those 4 guys rushing, as you mentioned, and guys keeping contained on Michael Vick. He didn't have a lot of opportunities to get out on the edge and do a lot of damage.
That's what I love. I mean, it was relentless. That's what I mean, executing a game plan. If it wasn't Urlacher, it was Briggs. If it wasn't Briggs, there was Julius Peppers. I mean, blue jerseys were everywhere. I mean, they fly to the football at the end of the day. And just to cap on Jiggs' point, LaShawn McCoy's averaging 5 yards a carry. The Bears had bigger plays. Look at Forte's 61-yard run. The more explosive plays, the more explosive team was the Bears today.
Bears front four comes up with 4 sacks in this game. How about the way they started this contest? We have not seen them come out in the first quarter and put points on the board like they did on this afternoon against a good Eagles team, even though they were beat up on the edges. But take a look at what Jay was able to do in the first quarter today. 3 of 4, 69 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions coming in. Completion percentage under 60%. 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 54.5. Yes, they had a little extra time off because of that Thursday night game, but this team really seemed to come out flying, and that's something we have not seen all season from this offense.
Somebody's asking a question, do they play up and down to the level of competition? I think that's an excellent question. But maybe some of it is also, that's the reason why they've got that little bit of an edge, because they think that no one believes in them. And Dee was asking us earlier on one of our web questions is whether or not people are starting to believe. I say, hey, keep it the way it's going. Keep asking the questions. Keep channeling, all of the issues to the top, because this team seems to respond to it. They're always looking to answer the next question that somebody asks about whether or not they can get it done. I think we have a pretty good feeling of whether or not they can get it done, but they still got some excellent tests in front of them.
I don't know if they're playing down or up or however you want to look at it to their competition. I think the game plan, the philosophy has changed. That series, second series for the Bears, where Forte goes for 61 yards, in weeks past, the first, say, 6-7 weeks leading up to the bye, Mike Martz would have said, we're going to keep attacking this secondary that's depleted, that's decimated with injuries. No, they went to the ground game. They continue to go to the ground game, and they went to the edges as well, where they were hurting the Eagles.
You saw them with some sweeps and things like that.
And it really worked. And it also worked out just on a simple counterplay in the 61 yards.
A lot of it is that little lovey doll that's hanging around Mike Martz's neck. Every time he gets ready to call another pass play, the doll chokes him a little bit.
It's like a voodoo doll. They just stick the thing in it.
At times, the Bears' offensive line looked tremendous. And then early on in that first half, it gave up, 4 sacks. So they figured some things out, but there was, at times, it was puzzling. There were guys coming unblocked in and coming right at Jay.
Assignments, at least in the first half, there were a couple of blocking assignment issues. Same thing, Jamarcus Webb, whether he's got a block down on a play, not blocking big on big, and there were some errors. But I thought Howard pointed out beautifully, they corrected those in the second half. Again, if you put a hat on a hat, you've got a chance in the National Football League. Biggest thing I loved about the Bears offense, one, you say coming out and starting fast. You had to because of the point totals the Eagles were putting up, so that was an emphasis by the offensive coaching staff. And then to respond right before the half on the interception, capitalizing on that momentum, taking it down and scoring, and that's all I needed to see.
Think about that. That's the turning point, Jiggs.
Yeah.
It's just before half. They've got a 14-13 lead. It's 2nd and 4 at the 4. Vic and the Eagles look like they're going to take the lead, at least even if they had to settle for a field goal. Tommy Harris comes through with Tommy Tips.
Chris Harris intercepts, returns it 40-some yards, sets up a scoring opportunity for the Bears.
Yeah.
You know, that, and go back to another play. I remember the little left-hand almost shovel pass that Jay Cutler made to Forte. And it was in the 3rd quarter. Again, it looked like one of those drives was getting ready to die a slow death. And all of a sudden they pick up a first down, and the offense picks up and takes off again. Small things like that, you know, a little bit of a breakdown on the defensive side, big play by the offense, and everything changes.
Yeah, for me, that emphasizes the Bears. The effort on that play. How about Julius Peppers on that last sack on Michael Vick? Are you kidding me? That's a 290-pound, 6'7" defensive end chasing down a quarterback. The effort, the extra effort, those are the type of plays you need, the hustle, and that's why the Bears were successful today.
Is this the best you've seen Jay Cutler play to date? I look at that touchdown pass just before the half. We've seen some tendencies. When Jay backpedals, looks left, he's usually throwing left. Well, he was looking left. It froze everybody up, the linebackers a little bit. It allowed Earl to get that out in the flat and get the touchdown. Lovey's stepping to the podium at Soldier Field. Let's take you there live on Comcast Sportsnet.
This time of the year, you know, you have big games. Coming in 2 good football teams at the top of their division, we knew what type of football game this would turn into. Crowd, of course, was outstanding again. We definitely had a home field advantage. Offensively, Jay Cutler was outstanding throughout, whether it was throwing the football or taking off running the ball. Just felt like he was in total control of our offense, distributing the ball around. Earl Bennett, you know, just outstanding day by him, coming up with big catches. And how about Greg Olsen? You're talking about a great TD catch for him. But it's about, you know, that balance we've talked about also. Matt Forte, you know, of course, that was a big run for him, but just keeping the running game going too. And this time of the year too, as you look at one stat that really tells whether you win or you lose is turnover ratio, then turn the ball over. Just a great job by the offense. Defensively, that turnover or that takeaway by Chris Harris when they had a little momentum, of course, was big. The defensive line had pressure on a great player in Michael Vick throughout the night. So pleased with them too. We like, you know, that last touchdown that we gave him. Of course, we really feel good about the effort. We hadn't have given them that, but you have to give them some credit too. But pleased with where we are. We're in first place in our division, like we were before we started, contrary to what most people believe or think. And we like the position we're in. Take your question.
Lovey, where does Jay's performance today rank with his other performances?
He's has some good performances, and you know I have a hard time remembering exactly what happened back in the past, but I just knew that he had a good week of practice, and we've seen signs of our offense making progress. But we just want him, you know, with him playing like that, we're going to be hard to beat.
Lovey, it seemed like some people felt this was a litmus test for your team. Did you feel that way?
Shoot, we try not to get into too much of that. You know, for us, you know, perception, really, this time of the year, it really doesn't matter a lot. We knew that this was a big game, and whether we've gotten enough respect or not, none of that really matters either. Just for us, with our schedule, we get a chance to play the best, supposedly the best teams out there. And, of course, they stood up today.
Is this the same Bears team that you saw all year long, or did you feel like you guys maybe took a little step today?
I think we've taken steps each week. Even the times when we lost, we found out something that we needed to know about our football team. But yes, I would definitely say our arrow is pointed up. You know, when you win 4 games in a row the way we have. We talked earlier about getting in position in October and making that run in November. And that's exactly what the guys are doing.
People don't believe in them.
Well, Really, to be truthful, we really don't, because we haven't really paid. We know what everyone is saying about us, but that really hasn't had much to do with how we feel, how we felt. I mean, as people, as they've been talking about us, we've been up at the top of our division most of the time, so that really doesn't matter a lot. Again, we're a confident football team, and the guys know that there's still some things that we have to improve upon, but they'll go back to work next week the way they always do.
Big challenge for the defense today.
I'm sorry?
Vic's had some huge games this year, and you all are the first team to beat the Eagles when he has started and finished the game this year. What did you think was the most important thing to take away from him to slow him down?
Well, we wanted to, you know, when you have a player like that that can hurt you, of course, running the ball or passing it, you have to try to make him do one thing. And we wanted to keep him in the pocket and make him become a drop-back passer and beat us that way, try to beat us that way. As far as, you know, the pressure, we wanted to keep him pinned in, just keep pressure on him. I thought we did that. But he is a great player, and you can see why before our game, he had won all of them he had started. But there are a lot of great players. Of course, he's one of the best in the league.
Defense is a prideful bunch, and just to come out, we all knew what we started to be a huge challenge. Just talk about their mindset and how they should feel that way.
Well, the mindset was, you know, of course, they were, you know, one of the top offenses coming in. And if you claim to be a top defense, you want to play the best offense around with a special player. We're talking a lot about special player. I mean, Jackson, Macklin, McCoy, they had a lot of good offensive guys. The guys took notice to that, and they wanted to see how we would match up against them. And they did a great job. You have to give, you know, the Eagles a lot of credit too. They're one of the better teams in the league also.
Well, if you look at the numbers, Jay's scrambling more. Why is he doing that? What's effective about it? Is it fun to watch?
Well, I mean, as a quarterback, you have to take what they give you a little bit. And, you know, if a pass isn't there, what gives defenses trouble is when a quarterback can take off. We're talking a lot about what Michael Vick has been able to do, but Jay Cutler is an athletic guy too. He's mobile, and seemed like about the last, you know, during this winning streak, he's had timely runs where it's really given us a boost.
Anything else for Coach?
Thank you.
Lovey after the 31-26 victory over Philadelphia. And let's take a look at the play distribution since the bye week. There you see 31 rushes to 30 passes in the Bills game, 38 rushing to 35 passing in the Vikings contest, 40 carries to 25 pass attempts against the Dolphins, and today 28 rushing attempts to 21 pass plays. It is clear, message has been sent, and Mike Martz is at least abiding by it.
And who knew that all of that, you could take play action and create big plays off of play action. We talked about it and talked about it. Finally, you're starting to see it come to fruition on the offensive side. You know, Jimmy, when you look at it this way, when was the last time you saw Bears offense and how when you had, what, 5-6 plays of over 30 yards in the game? That's unbelievable for an offense here with the Bears.
Well, that's a great point. Well, obviously, it's a winning formula for the Bears right now. And, you know, they're much like Philadelphia in that they've got a lot of team speed. The Bears have a lot of team speed offensively. And if you have play-action pass, it freezes the defense just enough to get a player behind the linebacker, to cause a safety to hesitate a little bit where you get the big plays. And how about the team speed of the Bears receivers today? They made a lot of Philadelphia Eagles miss in space. Those guys were struggling to tackle the Bears receiver.
A lot of yards after the catch for Hester, Knox, and Bennett, as Hester notches 86 yards receiving, 68 from Johnny, 56 from Earl. This was a receiving core today that I don't think a lot of us had seen in recent weeks.
Well, I think they get opportunities to make plays, and I think that's the biggest point. When you have an opportunity to make plays as a receiver, you have to go out and do that. And you also have to give Coach Martz some credit as well to stay with it, because it's easy to fall back to some of the things that you've done in the past, but you have receivers that you can just distribute the football to. You allow Jay Cutler to make the throws, not necessarily over the top, but shallow crosses underneath. Allow your playmakers to be playmakers, and I think that's what the Bears continue to do for the last 4 weeks.
How much of this, Jim, do you think was because the Eagles were hurt in their secondary and didn't have Asante and others?
Yeah, I think, you know, Martz did some good matchups. How about the one touchdown to Johnny Knox post corner? I mean, he broke the ankles of Hosea Hansen. He just doesn't have the speed of Asante Samuel, and Asante is great at jumping plays, diagnosing plays, and I played with him a year in New England. The guy studies film more than anybody. So I think that was a function of this win, but you give the Bears credit. They went out, executed their game plan, and made the plays like Howard talked about, and that was huge, and played with a chip on their shoulder. I mean, that was a feisty team out there.
It was like a Nancy Kerrigan situation where somebody's had to whack Asante over the knee. You know, he had the knee coming and everybody knew it. But, you know, you wonder sometimes, though, how different things would have been had he been out there, because you think of some of the touchdown passes and how tight a window Jay squeezed the football in, and you start to think, boy, if you had a Pro Bowl corner out there, would things have been different? Hey, he wasn't there. Well, touchdown, forget about it.
Let's break down the touchdown just before the half to Earl. Take us through that play where he was backpedaling, looking left, and throws right to Earl.
Yeah, I don't like the mechanics of Jay on the play because he's falling back when he's throwing. We saw earlier against the Washington Redskins, that was going 6 in the other direction. Because Hosea Hansen, doesn't react as well as Asante Samuel, gave Jay just enough room to deliver the football. Excellent route. Hey, you execute the play. You get away with one there in terms of mechanics. And Jay, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt today. He was completing balls with his left hand.
There was one at the end, near the end of the game too.
Yeah.
That could have been a pick six.
Very tight window.
Sometimes the football gods are smiling on you.
Yeah. How about the pressure of the front four from the Bears defensive line? Wait, Jay is stepping to the podium at Soldier Field. Let's take you live to the lakefront and hear from the Bears quarterback on Comcast Sportsnet.
Jay, this is another game where you got sacked a bunch early, then not much late. Was it changing things up or better execution?
It's a little bit of both. You know, they showed some stuff early on. It's just a matter of us kind of weeding through it. Figured out what protections are going to be best, what routes are going to be best against it. Once we kind of hit some stuff, they kind of sailed down some.
Jay, was this your best game as a Bear, and where do you think it ranks in your NFL career?
I don't know. It was a big game for us, obviously, but we talked about it in there. We got to keep going. We got to put this one behind us. The true test in this league is consistency, especially in November and December. Whether it's third downs, red zone, turnovers, or winning ball games, we just got to keep going.
For the offense as a whole, where does this maybe rank? You got a lot of kind
Yeah, a lot of guys came to play. Offensive line, they came to play, ran the ball well, scored some points. Earl had a heck of a game. Greg had a good game. Johnny and Devin both played well. So I think everyone's getting really comfortable in this system and what their responsibilities are and what they're supposed to do each play.
Jay, how would you say that over the last month you were personally playing statistically?
Why? It's a new system. It takes time. It takes time for everyone to learn it. It takes time for me to learn it. It takes time for Mike to get used to his guys and what we feel comfortable calling and what he can and can't call.
Jay, how much was the absence of Samuel playing for the factor?
Great player. And, sooner or later, we're probably going to miss a player here or there. I've missed a game. Lance has missed a game, and that's NFL. Very rarely are a guy's going to be able to play 16 straight games.
Jay, as you alluded to, there's still plenty of football to go, but can you talk about at least, again, controlling your destiny and getting better as you guys have gone?
Yeah, we just got to keep winning. We can't worry about anybody else in our division or in the NFC. We just got to keep playing, trying to keep better and better, and worrying about, our offense, our defense, and our special teams.
The talk around headed into this one was this would be a game where if you guys could pull it off, maybe a signature win that would put you in a different spot. Do you guys feel like this is a big one?
It's a good win. Like I said before, we can't hang our hat on this one. There's still a lot of football left to play. We've got to keep getting better and keep trying to improve and keep getting ready for the next opponent.
I know you said you don't want to rank it, but are you proud of the way you play your decision making?
Of course, we win the game and offense scores points. I'm going to be proud of all those guys.
Well, you personally, you're kind of proud of yourself.
I did my job. And that's all each of us can do. We just got to go out and do our job and execute the plays.
How gratifying was it for the offense to come through, especially when you say that defense well?
Yeah, defense has been playing so well each and every game and just holding us in there and really battling, creating a lot of turnovers, getting us good field position. And we've kind of squandered some stuff. And for us to go out there and kind of, alleviate some of that pressure off of them was good. We gotta close the door a little bit better in the fourth quarter, sustain some drives, get some first downs, milk the clock a little bit. But, it just goes back to keep getting better week in and week out.
Is that so much part of the game plan to keep yourself on the field?
I mean, we're not worried. We weren't worried about that. You know, I think the defense has been on the field quite a bit. We had hit some big plays, some quick scoring drives, 3, 4, 6 plays. So I think that was kind of a signature moment in the game for us to grind out the clock and get the running game going, pick up some tough first downs on third down. And even though we only got 3 out of it, to burn up that much time and really let our defense rest and you know, just get some momentum going, I think it was huge.
Matchup against Vic personally at all in terms of the challenge?
You know, I mean, I take every game personal. I mean, every game is very important to me. I do everything possible. And the later we get into the season, the bigger the games are going to be. And the higher the stakes are going to be raised and the higher the expectations are going to be, not just on this team, but me. And we've all got to rise to it.
Hey, Greg also was just having fun with your scrambling.
No. I do it, you know, the last resort. Mike is a little bit more, you know, savvy with it. You know, we're protecting well. We're giving me some running lanes, giving me some time to look downfield. If it's not there, you know, I'm going to take off and try to make something happen. Made some good plays through the air, you know, moving the pocket a little bit today.
But is it oversimplified to say the last 4 weeks, the better you have run, the better you have passed?
I think that goes back to protection, the way those guys are playing. You know, it's hard for me to run if they're not, you know, fitting up to the right guys, blocking, giving me some time. You know, whenever we're getting pressure and just losing guys, I'm not going to be able to go anywhere. So, you know, it all comes back to those guys, those front 5.
After Harris is picking the red zone, you guys go back and score right the other way. You feel like that momentum should kind of carry you in?
Yeah, I mean, the score right before halftime and then get the ball back and you know, go down and try again. That's huge. You know, potential 14-point swing right there, getting a pick down there. And defense has come up with big turnovers and big stops like that all year long for us.
Yeah, what do you like about the way you're playing?
You know, we're limiting turnovers. We're doing well on third down. We're converting in the red zone. So we're doing a lot of good things that help you win ball games.
I can't make you personally.
No, that goes back to me.
Your interpretation of the flag you wanted to see
Yeah. Yeah, I got the flag. You know, everyone saw the replay. Everyone knows what happened. You know, probably be a fine levied on that, but whatever. I'm out there. We're out there trying to do everything possible to win this ball game, and you know, something like that happens, I'm going to say something.
With the loss to Green Bay before this one, you feel good to just be in the driver's seat?
Yeah, you know, we had to go out and make it happen today, though. We had to go out and execute. And we can't worry about Green Bay. They're going to win ball games down the stretch. They're too good of a team not to. They got a lot of leadership over there, and they're well coached. So we've got to take care of our business.
How close are we to Morris's offense being complete?
We're getting there. Got to get better in the fourth quarter. Got to get better in the 4-minute drive. We're kind of grinding out the clock a little bit, but we're definitely we're getting there. There's still some things that are happening that we've got to clean up, and you can just tell that we're young in the offense, and we just haven't completely grasped it yet. But we're making enough big plays to overcome some stuff and limiting our turnovers, limiting our penalties.
Anything else?
Thanks.
Jay, after his 4-touchdown performance, and take a look at his passer rating and where it ranks among the Bears all time. He is now currently 5th, or has the 5th best passer rating for a single game at 146.2. Vince Evans had one at 158.3 against Green Bay back in 1980. Question was asked of Jay about losing his cool there in the fourth quarter, what he thought was pass interference. Rich from Normal, Illinois chimes in on CSNChicago.com. Do you think the Bears lost their cool too much in this game even though they won?
Well, first off, I'm still wondering where Rex Grossman mixed in that 148. But,
yeah.
Well, I think, this game had added significance for the Bears. Because believe it or not, I know the Bears still have, you know, division games left. This has a lot of playoff implications, today's win. You know, with what Atlanta's doing, Green Bay, granted Green Bay lost today, and now where the Bears have positioned themselves. Again, Philly was the hottest team, in my opinion, in the National Football League. And what Jiggs talked about is when you challenge a team in a game, one, Michael Vick hadn't thrown an interception The Bears get an interception. The Philadelphia defense led the league in turnovers. The Bears don't turn over the ball today. Those type of subtle challenges, what you throw out to your team, kind of keeping the carrot in front of them, the Bears came to compete today, and I think the coaches did a great job preparing them.
Yeah, and I mean, the things got a little testy there in the fourth quarter. Sometimes that happens when the fellow's going to play a little bit. The interesting thing about it was a lot of it the officials let go because they understand that, there's a great, if you can't play this game with emotion, you probably can't play it. And that's why, you see guys out there getting a little feisty because there's a lot on the line and everybody's trying to win the doggone game. So, yeah, it's going to be a little pushing and shoving and some talking every now and then, but it all led to nothing really.
There had been some talk that prior to the bye and even since then that there's been a little bit of a power struggle between Mike Tice and what he does with that offensive line, his philosophies there, and Mike Martz and his offense. And a lot of that, I think, has to do with Tice was hired first, offensive coordinator comes in second, and he's still ahead of him on the totem pole. Does it seem, Jigs, from your standpoint, that they have at least figured things out to make it manageable?
Yeah, it does. And the only thing I ask them to figure out now is to figure out the blitz situation. It bothers me when I see a right tackle allowing a man first to flash across his face. The guard gets his chain pulled a little bit because you see a linebacker over him jumping in and out, and this guy comes clean to the quarterback. In the meantime, they send a rusher outside. They have got to figure that situation out. And I said it's a simple matter of math. You start counting and say, where can the rush come from? And you always want to protect the inside. But then you also have a back there many times. And they've got to get that squared away because we've seen it week in and week out. And you wonder where the sacks come from. In large part, that's where they come from. So that's a combination of both Mike Martz figuring out how you want to block this thing up and Mike Tice letting his offensive linemen know how to do it.
We've got a lot to get to over the next 90 minutes after the 31-26 victory. We're going to hear from Michael Vick. Kip Lewis has Bears interviews outside their locker room. And our U.S. Cellular poll question takes us to break. Are the Bears the best team in the NFC? Simply yes or no. Log on to csnchicago.com. Go to the Bears page to vote. Plus, send us your thoughts on today's game. Coming up next, we've got highlights from today's affair on the lakefront. Keep it here. We are back on Bears Postgame Live with this GMC Sportsnet Central update with Jim Miller, I am Pat Boyle. Bears with an opportunity to take over sole possession of first in the NFC North. They took the field against the Eagles this afternoon, already knowing that the Packers had lost in Atlanta. But they had to get by Michael Vick and the Eagles first to claim sole possession. He came in with 375 yards rushing, the best passer rating in the NFL. Eagles opening drive, 3rd and 8. Vick dropping back, and here comes Izzy and Henry Melton for a loss of 9. That would be a theme. A lot of pressure from that front four. Eagles would settle for a 45-yard field goal. 2nd and 1, Matt Forte gets a crease and takes it 61 yards to the Eagles' 9-yard line. 2 plays later, little play action here. We talked about how effective Jay's been on play action to Earl Bennett, 10 yards, pitch and catch, 7-3 Bears. Jim.
Yeah, that's a nice read and throw. I'd like Earl Bennett. He should stay wider on that play. Don't run into the safety, stay to the outside, but Jay did a good job finding him on the play.
2nd and 11 at their own 40. Little bubble screen to Hester. Devin avoids a couple tackles, a gain of 39 yards. Good route here.
Yeah, good theme on the day. That's good timing. You get your offensive lineman out there. And again, I thought the Bears did a good job with run after the catch. Made a lot of Philadelphia Eagles miss today.
2 plays later, here's Johnny wide open.
Wasn't that supposed to be Asante Samuel out there? Well,
it is, and I don't think Asante slips.
Well, he broke Hasalio Hansen's ankles. That's a nice post corner route. Good timing. Big touchdown for the Bears.
Great play by Johnny Knox with the post corner move and takes it to the zone. To the 2nd quarter, Eagles with a 3rd and goal. Vick dropping back. Looking for Jeremy Maclin, 8th receiving touchdown this season for him. 14-10 Bears, 2 minutes left. Here's the turning point, 2nd and goal. Tipped into the hands of Chris Harris, and he takes it down the sidelines to the Bears 37. First pick thrown by Michael Vick all season. It was huge, too. 1st and 10 from the 50. Cutler to Earl Bennett at the 43. A lot of breaking of tackles here for some extra yards after the catch.
Yeah, Jay should have let him a little bit more, but he did a good job with body control to spin out of it. Earl Bennett, I thought he had a fantastic day today, along with a lot of other Bears receivers. Nice effort all around.
How about here? Cutler backpedaling, looking left, throwing right, 21-13. What did he do here,
Well, I'll
Jim?
tell you what, I don't like the mechanics still backing out. We saw one go for a pick 6 against the Washington Redskins, but hey, you'll take it after a touchdown. He probably won't even get a minus play graded on that one.
We'll take it. 21-13, third quarter. Eagles kick off in the second half. Devin Hester. Since he's gone back on kick returns, he's certainly brought some excitement and some results. Almost breaks that one, a return of 46 yards. Same drive, 2nd and 8. Cutler moving to his right. And this is what happens when, he's a threat to run. They bite on it, and you make them pay for the big game.
Yeah, the defenders, they got to respect it, and they got to rally up, much like how Michael Vick does it to the point. Jay Cutler has done that the last 4 weeks, and it's been the key to the Bears' success in that 4-game win.
First and goal from the 9, looking for his BFF. Greg Olsen to the back of the end zone. Great play here. Nice catch by Greg.
Well, I'll tell you what, dangerous throw on the bootleg, but he throws it high enough, allowing Greg Olsen to use his vertical, jumping over the Philadelphia Eagle. That's just great effort again by the Bears. All day long that happened.
Vick slips, gets up, sacked by Anthony Adams. Forced sack on Vick for the Bears D. The Bears with the 1st and 16 at their own 6. Matt Forte cuts back across the grain here. Gain of 28 yards.
Look at the down the field blocking. They ran that sweep pretty effective all day. Good effort by Forte to break the tackle. But again, the down the field blocking, tremendous.
Jiggs loved that. The left-handed shovel pass here. And looked like he was going to throw, saw the defender up, but made a good decision.
Yeah, made a play, knew that there was nobody there to intercept it, and just heady enough to find the open man to check down.
3rd and 8, Cutler to Bennett. Nice catch there by Bennett. 31-13 as that led to a field goal. 4th quarter, it's 31-19. 2 Eagles field goals. Philly ball, 2 minutes from the 30. Vick to Brent Selleck on 4th and 9. It's now a 31-26 game. Here comes the onside. Question is, did Johnny Knox get touched? Yeah, he got touched there. I saw it.
Number 51, I thought tagged him with the arm on the way down. So Bears win. Great effort all the way around by Chicago. Big game, big win.
They win 31-26. They move to 8-3. That coupled with the Packers' loss, they're in sole possession of first in the NFC North. Why is this offense so much more effective now than it was, say, 4 or 5 weeks ago?
Well, I think they're starting to settle in. Obviously, the idea of running the football has been more consistent. It's set up a lot of play action. A lot of the Bears' explosive plays were off of play action. And again, they sorted it out from the first half. Got a hat on the hat in the second half. If you do that, you have an opportunity. I think you're seeing a hungry team now. They not only believe that they're good, they believe they can be special. They believe they can be great. I think the Bears will go deep in the postseason.
They're certainly trending upwards, and we've seen in this NFL, it's probably one of the most wide open landscapes we've seen in this league in a long time. What's one of their biggest or 2 or 3 biggest areas of concern that they need to improve on?
Well, I think today we saw it again. 4-minute offense. You need to get the first down, keep the defense off the field. Fine, late, cheap score by the Philadelphia Eagles, but defensively, I'll tell you what, this team is good enough to get it done. So stay the way they are on defense. Offensively, just clean up the small things, and that would be, to me, their 4-minute offense to close out a ball game.
Coming up, we're going to hear from Michael Vick. We'll also have Bears reaction from outside their locker room after the big 31-26 victory over the Philadelphia Eagles, plus your emails along the way. We're coming back with more U.S. Cellular Bears postgame live after this.
It's a
Tasca says, I never thought I would say this. The coaches are experienced, unique, and perfect for this team. Watch out, NFL. You guys all in on that?
Well, we were talking back in the green room. How about early in the game? Because, again, Philadelphia has tremendous speed to get vertical. They're really putting Brian Urlacher in a bind. They were working that inside triangle where you try to high-low the middle backer. They'd take either the tight end or the slot receiver on a middle read. Then they'd have 2 check stops right by the Sam linebacker and the Will linebacker, and they'd start coming across right in where Brian Urlacher was dropped in the void. After that, you saw the Bears adjust. They brought Harris down at the safety position. He would defend the tight end, not allowing him down the middle, and that allowed Brian to creep up, start making those tackles.
Let me ask you guys.
Wait, hold on 1 second. We've got Tommy Harris live. Turning point in this game just before the half. Looked like the Eagles were going to take the lead. Tommy comes through with a big tip. Chris Harris the pick, and that led to another 7 points for the Bears. And Tommy standing by with our Kip Lewis. Take it away, Kip.
All right, thanks, Pat. And those guys in the studio talking about the tip that you made there that Chris got the interception on. Just take us through that play.
Quarterback went to empty. We knew he didn't have that much time or that many decisions that he could choose from being in the backfield by himself. So we knew that he was going to get rid of the ball fast, so I just tried to get in his face.
You know, we talked to you guys a lot. Everyone wanted to talk about Michael Vick this week. Did you guys have to do anything different, or did you do anything differently to make sure he didn't get those big gains on the ground that he's done against some of these other teams this year?
We really just put more emphasis on rushing together opposed to a guy trying to be the big-time sack leader. So that's what we did.
Talked to a couple of guys about, how big this game was. Did you?
Yeah,
Chris
it was big.
Hey, we're live, Chris. So you're gonna get us. You can get me in trouble.
Yeah.
Now,
Naked Juice, green.
Talk about how this is what happens when I let two guys come on together. Now, talk about. Did you look at this game at all like it was a statement game?
No, not at all. We know what we are, and we got to continue to keep playing hard. And hopefully, when we get to Dallas, people would know that.
I know you've mentioned Dallas before. Next week, a game against Detroit, you guys get a chance to go 4-0 in the division. Any concerns you guys overlook a team like Detroit at this point?
Never, especially not Detroit. Detroit is a great team. They're a real good football team. And we just have to play hard and continue to keep going and keep getting this W.
All right, Tommy, I appreciate your time. We're cool now, right?
Thanks a lot.
So nice having you on.
Naked Juice.
All right, Chris. Hey guys, hold on. Chris Harris is here, and Tommy finally in a good mood. He keeps telling me he's not going to talk to me anymore, but somehow I get him to come on. First of all, let's talk. To me, and I think maybe to a lot of other people, you had the play of the game there. That interception. Talk about that play.
Oh man, we were in man-to-man coverage. I was safety in the middle of the field, single high safety, and I think they tried to run a slant on Tim Jennings. And Tommy got great pressure. He got his hands up, tipped the ball, and I was kind of leaning that way and was the beneficiary of a tipped Tommy pass and was able to get a few yards on it.
You've been sort of in the right place, the right time lately with some of these interceptions.
Yeah, man, I just I try to see the formation, try to anticipate things, and I was just kind of melting with the quarterback's eyes. He was looking that way, so I was kind of sliding over there.
I've talked to some of the guys up front, some of the front seven guys, about what they had to do to keep Michael Vick from running wild. What did you guys have to do in the secondary to make sure Deshaun Jackson and Macklin didn't get those big plays against you guys, like they've done against a lot of other people?
All week, man, we stayed deep. That's all we talked about all week. We backed our alignments up a few yards, and the goal was not to give up the big plays and make them have to grind it out. They lived off of that big play going up top.
Do you guys ever get concerned? I'm sitting up there in the press box. In the first half, you guys are playing sort of that deep cover two. You know they're going to get those routes, sit down in the zone. They're slowly moving the ball down the field. Does that get a little frustrating at times when you know that, guys know what you're going to play and they know where those holes are going to be?
No, not at all, man. As long as we don't give up the big play, we don't mind. A lot of teams aren't patient enough to just keep dinking and dunking. A lot of teams aren't patient enough to do it. And our goal is just to stay back deep. We don't care about the yards we give up. We care about the points we give up. So, that's pretty much the goal in this defense. It's kind of a bend but don't break defense. So I think we played a pretty good red zone defense today.
Some of the guys said they didn't really look at this game like a statement game, even though Philadelphia came in as one of those teams that people were talking about. Maybe they're a Super Bowl contender. This didn't seem like it was a normal game. This game seemed like it sort of had that playoff atmosphere. It wasn't just another game, was it?
It definitely felt like a playoff atmosphere. It was a very big game for us. I'm not going to sit here and say it wasn't, but it was a big game for us coming in. We knew we had arguably the best team in the NFC coming in here, and we were 3-point underdogs, which is kind of a slap in the face, but we feel we have a good team. And then again, it was just another game of 16. We still got 5 more games to go. So it was we needed to win, though. It was a big win for us.
Finally, you look at the rest of your schedule. Obviously, Detroit, struggling a little bit, but you've got teams like New England. You've got teams like the Jets. You've got the Packers again on the schedule. I mean, does that sort of help keep everyone, hey, we got to continue to get better because the road ahead certainly is not going to get any easier to get to where you want to be?
We definitely know we have to get better. We're not there yet. We're getting there, but we're not there yet. You want to be playing your best football late November and December, and I feel we're getting better every week. You want to climax in December. So, we got some tough games coming ahead, but, we're just going to take it one game at a time.
All right, Chris, appreciate your time, guys. Chris Harris, perhaps the play of the day in this game, that interception there late in the second quarter. That does it from here outside the locker room. Let's go back to you guys in the studio.
Kip, thank you very much, and our thanks to Chris Harris. Guys, coming into this season, a lot of question marks about the Bears' safety. Since Mike Brown left town, it's been a revolving door back there. Chris left to go to Carolina. We've tried just about everybody back there. It does seem, after even a bad preseason, we saw, I think it was Chris in that third preseason game, had the worst game of his career, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be fun.
What do they do?
But they have figured it out. The safeties have played well.
And also when you look at the youngster out of Florida, the first-round draft pick, Major Wright, it looks like they hit another home run with a guy who was a third-round pick, basically. But the difference, I think, with Chris Harris between the first time he was here and this time around is, he got married and he settled down. And instead of running around, you actually spending time, up at the facility studying tape and things like that. And you can see how he's grown that way.
Are you saying he was mature the way he kept coming up to
Hey, that was Kip. Another awkward moment with Kip Lewis. What can we say? But I think that's made a huge difference. And this time when they brought him back as a leader of the defense. When you ask that guy to be that man back there for you, it makes a huge difference. And that guy's got it settled down, and the guy's looking to improve day in and day out. Not necessarily worried about what club you're going to go out to at night. It makes a huge difference.
You want to know what? They know his weaknesses, and he's not a rangy safety that can go sideline to sideline. But one thing Chris Harris has always been good about, and you bring him back in the same defense as Tampa 2, he has a nose for football, and that guy can lay the wood. That guy will hit you.
And people know that when they go across.
And I think the other thing, too, as well, is you talk about a pass rush being able to be generated by the front four, and I think that's a huge part of it, particularly from the defensive tackle position.
You look at MVPs today in this game, and I'm so glad you mentioned, when you talk about the guys that really made a difference in this game defensively, you look at the effort of the front four, and we talked about it all week long on Bears Blitz and all the rest of that, contain outside, pressure in the middle. That's exactly what they got from that defensive front, and they just kept collapsing down on him, daring him to throw the football downfield, letting him look, because the time when he's most dangerous to me is when he's out running around. That's when he causes a lot of trouble. You keep him in that pocket, force him to become a classic pocket quarterback, and he doesn't do quite as well.
And Michael not only throws his first interception on the season, but Michael Vick fumbled the ball 3 times. Now, he didn't give it up.
Right.
But hands were getting in there, and they have figured out a good rotation inside with Adams, Toina, Tommy. It seems to be working out with what they have done interior-wise against, these offensive lines that they're facing.
Without a doubt, and you think of it this way, they had 4 sacks today. 2.5 sacks were brought to you by the interior linemen, the defensive tackles, and that's important because they're able to get pressure up the middle, so they're able to take advantage of some of those one-on-one matchups that they're getting because of Izzy and Peppers on the outside, so they're doing a good job inside.
Yeah, and the whole thing is you look at trapping the quarterback and making him feel like that trap rat, and Jim, that feels like at times it's a very uncomfortable situation.
I don't have the legs of Vic.
Well, it's back in the day. I mean, when you first started.
I'm like a trap sloth. That's what he meant.
But when you look at that pressure and what just those 4 guys can do, means that secondary's got help back there, and linebackers are back there helping out and everything else. So it makes a huge difference.
The beauty of this is that the Bears weren't going to be able to go out and score 17 points and beat the Eagles. They had to put some points on the board, and the offense came through. Earl Bennett with a stellar game, 4 catches, 56 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interview with our Kip Lewis.
All right, thanks, guys, with Earl Bennett. And Earl, first of all, let's start out your first 2 TD game in the NFL. I know that has to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it feels good, but I mean, the biggest thing is we won. We still top our division, and we 8-3 now.
Do you feel like this was a little bit of a statement game? People sort of criticize maybe some of the teams you beat. Then you come in, you get Philly at home, a team that a lot of people were talking about as maybe a Super Bowl contender, and you beat them.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for us is that everybody in this locker room feel and know that we are the best team in the NFL. That's just how we feel. So we just have to come out every Sunday and prove it and just continue to move forward.
How much better is this offense getting? You know, we've talked since the bye week. We've sort of seen some changes. But all of a sudden in this game, I noticed some plays when they were bringing guys off the edges. And those plays that you guys weren't hitting earlier, those quick getting rid of the ball, today you were making those plays.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all about putting the puzzle together. And that's what we're really doing. Everybody's coming together, standing in our playbook and making sure that we know everything we need to know.
Did you ever have any worries? I remember going back to training camp, you had the hamstring injury, you didn't get a chance to get on the field. Now all of a sudden it sort of seems like you have a role, and Jay had mentioned earlier this week that you're a guy that he looks to.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me is just when I have my opportunity to take advantage of it and continue to run with it. And that's what I'm doing now, man. I'm still just trying to run with this thing and just, hopefully it help us lead us to the Super Bowl.
Talk about Jay's performance. Again, no interceptions in this game, 4 touchdown passes. How is he maybe continuing to grow in this offense?
I mean, he's just continuing to get better week in and week out. And he's a guy who studies a lot and makes sure he knows everything. So, I mean, he's one of those guys that's just going to continue to get better and better.
Kind of fun to be playing meaningful games this late in the year, getting a chance to go 4-0 in the division next week?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And, I mean, this means a lot. And, I mean, it's a great win for us. We're going to enjoy it tonight and, just get ready for Detroit.
All right, Earl, appreciate your time, guys. Earl Bennett, 2 touchdowns in this big win over the Eagles. Let's go back to you guys in the studio.
Kip Earl, thank you. Time now for our All-State Good Hands top receiver, and it is the Duke of Earl. Earl Bennett coming through with the 4 catches. Averages 14 yards per snag and the 2 touchdowns. We were talking back in the green room while we watched this game. The one thing that it would certainly help Jay is a go-to guy, a crunch time guy. Ryan has Roddy White. Aaron Rodgers has Greg Jennings and others. Eli Manning had Hakeem before he went down. You've seen what happens when certain receivers leave the fray. And you saw the weapons that Michael Vick had. But we still have not seen that guy emerge. Are we beginning to see some guys emerge? And should there one person we anoint, or should...
I'm not sure if every team is a little bit different. And by the way, he would be the Commodore of Earl, if you will, from Vanderbilt. But I don't know if this team is ever going to have that number 1 guy in this offense with the people they've got there. It almost seems like they are a team that features a different guy every time around. So it's really hard to get a fix on who's going to be that guy. But you look at even in this game, I guess you would have to say if there's going to be a guy, especially in the red zone, it would be Greg Olsen, because Greg has a ton of touchdown catches so far this season and in his career here with the Bears. But I don't know if this team is ever going to have that guy, because you think of the guys coming out of the backfield, Forte, number 1 in the passing game. Then you look at Knox, you look at Hester, you see Earl and his ability to catch the football. I don't know if there's ever going to be one person that you can pick out.
I thought it was becoming Knox for a while. I still think Greg Olsen is his favorite guy, like Jig said, back in the red zone. But today, I think, again, it was about matchups. Because of the secondary issues of the Philadelphia Eagles, Earl Bennett became that guy in the slot, especially in the red zone where we saw the 1 touchdown. So I try to view the Bears much like the Philadelphia Eagles. You can't just shut down one guy. You can't shut down D-Jack for Philly. You can't shut down Macklin. Avant's been a playmaker from and Brent Selleck, their tight end. View the Bears like that, which is a good thing, because you don't go into a game just trying to shut down one specific guy.
Here's a question for you. Which team, from a receiving standpoint, has the most overall speed at the receiver group with the receivers on their team? Is it the Philadelphia Eagles? We heard a lot about Deshaun Jackson. He can absolutely fly, but so can Johnny Knox. Devin Hester can fly, but so can Macklin. Who has the best team speed overall at the receiver spots?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. And just to take your point a little bit further, when you talk about whether or not they have a guy that could truly be a number 1, I don't believe that this offense actually allows a guy to be a true number 1, because I think you have to go back in history and look at what this offense has done, particularly when they were with the Rams. You had 3 or 4 guys that put up big numbers week in and week out, so you never knew who to count on. So I think it's more about the offense than it is the personnel, about whether or not you can have a guy that's going to be a true number 1.
The one thing you do know is the trigger man has got to get the football to them and not give it away.
He brings up a great point. 3 guys, Oz Hakeem down there, Torrey Holt, and Isaac Bruce. 2 of them will go to the Hall of Fame.
Coming up, we're going to hear from John Moon Mullen. He'll tell us what was going on in that Bears locker room after their 31-26 victory. We will also hear from Michael Vick and a whole lot more. And a reminder, get interactive with us Vote for our U.S. Cellular Bears poll question. Are the Bears the best team in the NFC? Simply yes or no. Go to csnchicago.com. Vote there. We'll have the results coming up later in the show.
Why is that a question?
Prepare for the holidays
all week long. Time now to bring in our CSNChicago.com Bears beat writer John Moon Mullen for the view from the moon. And John, 16 points was good enough to beat Miami some 10 days ago. We knew it wasn't going to happen on this night if they came up with 16 points. It was great to see this offense emerge as it did today against the Eagles.
Yeah, I think Jay Cutler matched his career high of touchdown passes. I think coming in, Philadelphia has such a defensive tradition. You weren't really sure what you're going to get out of them. Let's be honest. I mean, it didn't hurt the Bears that Asante Samuel was inactive with an injury, and Jukwa Parker, the defensive end with 5 sacks, was inactive with injury. So, a couple of things, again, conspired to help the Bears, but they made so much out of it. And the biggest thing to me, I'm sure you guys have touched on it, is Jay Cutler not turning the ball over. I mean, this was, Earl Bennett called it maybe one of certainly the top 5 games of all that he's ever played with Jay Cutler.
You know what, John, one of the things that we talk about when we look at the opposition, we say, well, Samuels wasn't there or Parker wasn't there. That's the nature of the game.
Yeah.
The Bears have played without, guys like Lance Briggs, a 5-time Pro Bowler, rather than just with 5 sacks in the season. So, that's what you have to do to overcome. And if you're a great team, and the Philadelphia Eagles certainly looked like they were heading in that direction coming into this game. Yep. And the only thing you can say is the Bears went out and beat them. Because I think we're all still looking for, is there a chink in the armor? What's going to go wrong? Either that or you're looking at it and saying, you know what? You got to clean up this, you got to clean up this, and clean up this, and you're going to become a really outstanding football team. I tend to be more of the latter than the former. I'm looking at it and saying, there are a couple of other areas now that you got to work on, and before you know it, we're going to be in week 16 and 17, and they're going to be in a playoff hunt.
Yeah, isn't it funny though? I think, Danny, isn't that a condition of living in Chicago?
Oh yes,
don't we expect something to go wrong? Rick, a ball will go through Bull Durham's legs, or something will happen. I think even in the Super Bowl season, the '85 season, Mike Ditka was still, 13 games into the season, was still saying nobody believes in you. And it was partly true. I think there's a little bit of that still running. I think Chicago is always so reluctant to believe because Chicago's had its heart broken so many times. But you're spot on, Danny. It wasn't like the Eagles played 9 on 11 today. Somebody did go out and play, and the Bears took care of business, and that's all you can really, you can only play who's in front of you.
Hey, John, Jim Miller here, and I thought you said it beautifully about Jay Cutler not having turnovers because, hey, you look at Philadelphia, they had 26 turnovers on the year, plus 15 turnover margin, and just the challenges every week in the NFL, because it seems like every game becomes its own entity in the goals that you try to set out for your football team. Like the Bears getting a interception on Michael Vick, who hadn't been picked off all year. You look at the Bears offense not turning over the football that you pointed out, and just the chippiness of the team. What did the guys credit that to? Was it the coaches that threw out that goal, or was it self-motivation by the football team itself?
Well, Jimmy, you've been around Olin Kreutz enough to know part of that answer. I think you could read his lips, and I think he was simply saying, don't do that. Don't do that, even as he's punching guys in the mouth and so forth. Now, there's a lot of pride, and it's funny for a team that says, well, we don't pay any attention to what anybody says about us. They can quote you chapter and verse of every negative article or negative comment made. So there's some of that. But they're also realizing that they're better than they're better than opinions. And I think it comes across in some of the comments. They're not really irritated with the public for doubting. They're not really, I think they felt cheap shotted by Philadelphia. That was, a couple of comments, what happened at the end of the game. Well, they thought Philadelphia was taking a shot at Devin Hester, little things like that. So the coaches aren't really instilling that. I mean, you've seen, Lovie and Rod Marinelli in particular are just not that kind of guy. Their idea will be to take care of business on the next play, and that seems to be what they've really done a good job of keeping this team focused on.
Hey, Moon, Howard Griffith here. Hey, Howard. I was really impressed with what the front four were able to do, but also I was equally impressed that the Chicago Bears didn't give up the big play. We knew this Philadelphia offense was big play capable, but they kept the safeties back, sometimes 20 yards off the line of scrimmage. What did they talk about after the game about really playing coverage versus having to send linebackers and more pressure as far as that's concerned?
You know, Howard, you really hit the nail. I talked with a number of guys specifically about what was your mindset, and that was number one. I heard it more than probably 3 or 4 different times, guys saying we just simply didn't want to give up the good play. This is a team that lives for the big play. On top of that was hoping that maybe Michael Vick gets impatient. And they felt like, you know, the Vick of 5 years ago would have gotten impatient. But that was the whole mindset, was simply not giving up the big play early. So when they blitzed, they had an element of surprise going for them. You're right, safeties were played deep. I think on the Chris Harris interception, Daniel Manning was singled up on the tight end, but they were still playing their scheme and, you know, letting the game come to them. You know, on that interception, by the way, it was very interesting to see. Tommy Harris told me that he was aware that they didn't have anyone. It was a zero backfield, so he knew that Vick had no options. Was going to throw the ball quickly, take 2 steps, get your hands up, just kind of the classic way you pass rush against the West Coast. So they seemed to be really in sync with what Michael Vick was trying to do, including going for the big play. They just felt like, let's keep it in front of us, make them go a distance. Either they'll turn it over, they'll fail to convert, we'll make a play, something good will happen, and that's the way they played.
John, great stuff as always. We look forward to seeing your work on CSNChicago.com in probably an hour or 2.
Yes, sir. Talk soon.
All right, Michael Vick comes into this contest with the highest passer rating in the National Football League. 330 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, just 44 yards rushing on the ground. Michael Vick talked about that Bears vaunted D after the game.
Well, first off, I have to take my hat off to the Chicago Bears defense. They did a great job in, you know, their scheme, and you know, I felt like we had opportunities. We didn't take advantage of them. You know, and I think the turning point in the game was the turnover on the you know, 2-yard line, and you know, we make that play, and I think it's a different ball game. But you know, it's hindsight now. We have to move forward, have to move on. But you know, we definitely have to play better, starting with me.
But you seemed really upset after that play. I know, you know, the turnover. You kind of was there something else going on?
You know, I had a lot of options on that play, and you know, I could have went strong side to Brent Selleck. I went backside. I could have, you know, pulled it down and ran it. You know, so many things other than the turnover, and you know, I solely take responsibility for that. You know, I have to be better in the red zone. Have to get better in our red zone efficiency, and you know, get more touchdowns than field goals. And I think that's been the biggest thing for us the last couple of weeks, and not capitalizing in the red zone. So we definitely have to work on that.
What were they doing in the red zone?
Well, you know, nothing out of the ordinary. I think, you know, we just beat ourselves. I think, you know, plays that we can make, we just don't make them. And I mean, I think if we go back and watch the film, we'll see so many opportunities that we had that we didn't capitalize on. And we just got to get better, like I said, starting with me.
Well, I don't think this is the stat line you thought you would see at the end of the day. Jay Cutler outdueling Michael Vick with the 4 touchdown passes, no interceptions, and certainly trumping him in the quarterback rating department. Were you guys surprised Andy Reid kicked the field goal, 4th and 4 at the 4, down 15 points in that 4th quarter?
Yeah, you know, I think they look, you know, these guys go by this whole idea of how many more scores do you need? You know, so they look at it and say, well, again, you know, you try to cut down that number
as well. I mean,
well, yeah, but he's, you know, he's obviously, hey, but you saw how things worked out. He did look at that clock.
Well, I know.
They were stretching it down. They had another opportunity now. So in theory, it worked for him. You know, to the extent that if they could have gotten that last touchdown, but they didn't. But I'm just saying that's you know, that's the opportunity, and that's what you have to gauge as a head coach. And sometimes we look at it as fans, we go, man, you know, I'd rather see, you know, go for a touchdown or whatever. But that's the way it works.
Those 2 ugly losses before the bye to Seattle and Washington. One thing, common theme in both, they didn't have Lance Briggs in those contests. He was only able to go with the 1 play in one of those games. Lance addressed the media a short time ago.
I think it's a statement for the team. Every week is a statement. You know, I don't know about if we're not giving enough credit or whatever it is. It's just the character of the team, you know, week in and week out is just great.
But it's not easy containing Mike Vick. Is that what the game plan was, just to try to contain him?
Our game plan was to do what we do. You know, make him make plays. make their team make plays, you know. But weather changes, Bears don't.
How big of a victory was this for you guys today, beating a team that's at the top of the NFC with yourselves and Green Bay's loss?
That's huge. You know, it gives us a 2-game lead in our division. I guess we gotta say thank you to the Atlanta Falcons, and now we need you to lose a few. but that's because you're getting cold out there, you know, and you look up and they're eating up, you know, almost 10 minutes of the game clock. That helps. That helps, especially with a team like the Eagles.
Lance, what about the doubters out there who said, "Hey, you guys didn't have many quality wins, and you get a quality win over here"? What do you say to those?
You know what? I don't really have a whole lot to say. You know, the doubters are going to be there. You know, it's our job to just keep winning.
The monsters of the Midway basketball game.
We can tell you that at the end of the year. I can tell you that when we go to Dallas.
Number 55, talking about ending the season at Jerry World for the Super Bowl. Let's take a look at the scores from Week 12 of the National Football League. Matt Bryant kicks a field goal in the closing seconds as the Falcons knock off the Packers. Atlanta with the best record in the NFC at 92. Former Bear Leslie Frazier gets a win in his first game as interim Vikings head coach. Minnesota wins and takes care of the Redskins 17-13 the final. The G-men rally to beat the Jaguars. Baltimore takes care of the Buccaneers 17-10. 3 more touchdowns for Dwayne Bowe. He leads the league with 14. The Chiefs win in Seattle. Steelers survive an overtime affair against the Bills. The Rams win in Denver. And the Texans, much maligned, D shuts out Rusty Smith and the Tennessee Titans. Miami rebounds from their loss to the Bears. They take care of the Raiders. The Browns hang on to beat the Panthers. New England and the Saints, of course, win on Thanksgiving Day. Much more Bears postgame live, including a chat with Julius Peppers on the other side.
American
is Vapo rubbed today. If you're a turkey, there are some warm Eagle leftovers at Soldier Field. There are plenty of those. Julius Peppers notched one of the Bears' 4 sacks. He now has 6 on the campaign. He talked to, along with Anthony Adams, our Kip Lewis.
All right, thanks, guys. Anthony Adams, Julius Peppers. And, guys, you know, we talked to you guys a lot this week about so much talk about Michael Vick. Just talk about how you guys defensed him today and how well you did, especially keeping him from getting the big yards running the ball.
We just called this play called Pep. We go Pep right and Pep left, and then he just do all the rest.
That's it?
Yep.
we did a, I think we had the game plan was to get a lot of hats to him, rush him, and overlap each other. So, you know, we had one guy go, well, all 4 of us go, and then, you know, when somebody gets there, pull your trigger, take your shot, and everybody else come. That's how you got to defend them.
Did you guys look at this game as a statement game, like a game, hey, we've got a chance to beat a team that people are talking about as one of the better teams in the NFL?
No, it's another game for us. We already know we're a good football team. We don't have anything to prove to anybody but ourselves. So, you know, it's on to the next game.
How big was Chris Harris's interception there late in the second quarter to really stop that Eagles drive?
Oh, it was huge, man. I just thought he should have pitched it to me, and then, you know, we would have had at least 100% chance of scoring a touchdown.
So you wanted a chance to show your speed?
I don't really need to show it, you know. It just, once I get the ball in my hands, you know, I do, you know, exciting things.
That's it. When you guys get late into the season now, you're playing meaningful football games. Do you guys continually see this team getting better week in and week out when you turn on the tape?
Hopefully, you got to get better at this point in the season. And really, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So you don't want to get worse at this point in the season. You know, we come out, this team practices hard. We pay attention. We're into it mentally. So, yeah, I think we're getting better. Not only defense, but all 3 phases. We're getting better. You don't want to play your best football at the beginning of the year. You want to get better and progress throughout the season. I see that's how it's panning out here.
Finally, for you, on the defense, when you see a guy like Jay, talk about Jay's play today. I mean, no interceptions, 4 touchdowns. Do you see him continuing to grow in this offense, being a defensive guy?
I do. He's playing well. Not only him, the whole offensive unit. You know, they helped us out big time, but they scoring all those points early. But Jay individually, he had a great game today. And he's been getting better also, just like we all have. And that's what it takes in this league. Everybody to get better and do your job, and and when you do that, you can get wins like this.
All right, Julius, appreciate your time. I know you've been doing a bunch of interviews. I said I'd let you go quick. You get to go home next week, and I know last year when I saw you in Detroit, your whole family shows up. Do you look forward to getting a chance to go back to Detroit, especially the way you guys are playing right now?
Yeah, it's always fun to play in front of your home crowd. You know, I'm going to have a lot of my family and friends there, old school teachers, you know, everybody show up, so it's going to be big for me.
Finally, how important was it, I mean, for you guys to make sure everyone did their job in this game, to sort of keep Vic back there? And you guys did a good job against the run as well, but how much focus was there? And I know it's something you guys always do, but just paying attention to those little details, making sure guys stay in the right spot.
Well, I think it's a testament to Coach Marinelli and his staff, man. They're doing an excellent job in getting us prepared week in and week out. I mean, we had a short week against Miami, and you know, they made sure that, you know, we were looking at this play and stop this play and that play, and then, you know, they did, you know, a wonderful job with Philly too, man. So, I mean, it's a testament to Coach Marinelli and the staff.
Anthony, appreciate your time, guys. Anthony Adams, part of that defense, did a nice job stopping the Eagles' running game and keeping, of course, Michael Vick contained there in the backfield. Let's go back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Kip, now Anthony and the Bears D heading to the D next weekend. Much more on that coming up later on in the show. Time now for our Four Seasons Who's Hot, Who's Not from Week 12. Tom Brady, 4 touchdown passes, perfect quarterback rating in that game in the D on Thanksgiving Day. Arian Foster continues his fantastic season, ran for 143 yards, caught 9 passes for 75 more, and the Texans shutout victory over the Titans. Peyton Hillis, another huge game, nearly 200 total yards, 3 scores as the Browns edge the Panthers. Who's not? Well, Carson Palmer. What's happened to Carson Palmer? 2 picks as the Bengals fell on Thanksgiving night against the overrated Jets. Chris Johnson held in check by the Texans D after 3 straight 100-yard receiving games. Mike Wallace with just 3 catches for the Steelers in Buffalo. Coming up, we're going to hear from Matt Forte, Olsen, and others. And we'll break down the NFC playoff picture. Yeah, that's right, coming up. Said they saw the man run up to a ledge and jump. The Chicago Fire Department said the man fell 50 feet. He was taken to Northwestern Memorial Hospital where he was pronounced dead. The Cook County Medical Examiner's Office is now investigating. So tragic news today and sad news at Soldier Field. Back to the game, the Bears win it 31-26, and here's what they did in the red zone on this day. 4 trips in, they end up with 3 touchdowns and a field goal. Again, that is something we have not seen much of
and it's something
until
we've been begging for week in and week out. You talk about things that you can do to improve as a football team. That was absolutely at the top of the list. In this game, the Bears offense put 31 points on the board.
And one of those guys was Greg Olsen, 9-yard touchdown catch. That was the only pass thrown his way all game long. Made a great play in the back of the end zone in the 3rd quarter. He talked to the media a short time ago.
You know, both offensively and defensively, they're well-rounded special teams. So it was going to take a 3-phase win for us, and all 3 phases did their job tonight. And that's when you play like that, you'll win.
How good was Jay today?
He was great. You know, he's everything that you could, you want your quarterback to do. You know, took great care of the ball, made huge plays in the passing game, made short plays, ran with it, and I think threw 4 touchdowns. So, I mean, you throw 4 touchdowns with no picks, that's a pretty good day for anybody.
We was out there, you know, just executing each play that was called. Everybody's out there having fun, and you can tell that it showed out there tonight.
Let's start with your touchdown. Take us through a little post-corner route there. Take us through that route and the score there.
We noticed the safety was in the middle of the field, so it basically went on with the corner. You know, all week during film, you know, the corners had their eyes in the backfield, so a double move would get them, and pretty much it was a walking end zone.
That's what this offense is designed for, you know, explosive plays. They're not going to come, you know, right after another. But, you know, when you get the opportunity to make that big play, you got to make the most of it. And each one we had today, I think the guys, you know, the receivers and, you know, us as a running back group, we did that.
Is this the type of game you've been waiting for?
I mean, we've been playing good ball the whole year, I think. And, you know, just we want to, as an offense, get better each week.
Forte is the first person to go over the century mark against the Eagles this season, but Howard, Chester Taylor, 6 carries, -3. What is going on with Chester Taylor?
Yeah, personally, I just believe that they're the same pack, he and Matt Forte, so they do the same thing. So he's not going to get a lot of opportunities on the football field, and unfortunately for Chester, I just don't believe he fits in the offense as it's constructed today.
And there's probably maybe seeing some tendencies out there as well,
I think
Jigs,
so, 'cause
maybe?
He likes to go between the tackles a little bit more, saying, I don't know if it's by formation or whatever, but they're probably going to have to take a look at that after today, because every time he came in there, and he was driving up between those tackles, and he was being met by four guys.
It looked like Jay was handing off.
Hey, here, run it to the wall.
2 Eagles. Coming up, our Monsters of the Midway, the Bears MVP. We'll take a look at our U.S. Cellular Bears poll question as we head to break. It's all coming up. The Bears, are they the best team in the NFC? Yes or no?
800-401-4010.
Time for our Monsters of the Midway, and we start with Howard Griffith.
For me, it's Jay Cutler. Did a tremendous job. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a huge 17 yards rushing today. One of those was for 12 and picked up the first down.
Well, for me, Jay Cutler, too. He's been the catalyst running the football, making plays with legs. Jay Cutler, he outrushed Michael Vick today, and I'll take Peppers on defense. I'm rolling with Jigs.
Get your pencils and scorecards ready.
I'm ready for you,
I got
Jigs.
Cutler. Forte on the offensive side. 2. Peppers and Izzy on the defensive side.
4.
And the rest of the defensive line, because all of those guys, inside, outside, bringing the heat today. Beautiful.
I'm going with Kristen Cavallari's boyfriend, Jay Cutler, with his 5th career 4-touchdown performance. Time now to check in our U.S. Cellular poll results. The question was, are the Bears the best team in the NFC? 67% of you are drinking what Jigs is drinking.
And why not?
We're all drinking, folks. Yes, indeed. Thanks for voting at csnchicago.com. Playoff picture coming up next.
The NFC games are obviously important, but I think when you look at what New England and what the Jets can bring as far as defense is concerned, they'll bring some exotic things, so this offensive line has to be on point when it comes to those games.
The thing is, those are home games.
Yeah, let's take a look at the NFC playoff picture right now. Your division leaders, the Falcons, Bears, Eagles, and Rams. Right now, the Saints and Packers sit in the wild card situation, and the Giants are struggling right now. But as you look at it, it could come down to that last game against the Packers, Jim.
Yeah, I think it could. And obviously the Bears, hopefully they're trending in the right direction. And just like Julius Peppers talked about, one, they can't have any injuries and just keep on getting better offensively. The Bears are legit. They'll be in it to win it.
Bottom line is Jigs has his Kool-Aid, and he's got plenty more where that came from. Bears are 8-3 after the 31-26 victory for Howard Griffith, Jim Miller, Dan Jiggets, Kip Lewis, John Moon Mullen. I'm Pat Boyle. We'll see you next Sunday after the Detroit game.